With your Kettleers in search of consecutive win number 7, and with the rival Hyannis Harborhawks in town tonight for matchup number 3 of 6 in the 2017 Barnstable Patriot Cup, Cotuit Kettleers baseball is live on the air, and this is the Cotuit Kettleers pregame show. Matt Rigby with you, alongside my broadcast partner Will Greer, who will join the pregame show in a couple of segments. A very, very, very pleasant good Monday evening to you, wherever you may be tuning in from, on either our Mixlr page, on our YouTube page, or even on Comcast Channel 9 across Cape Cod. For the Kettleers, they come in 14-9. They come in first place atop the Cape League's Western Division, and they will be pitted tonight against a team that is in last place in the Cape League's Western Division in the form of the 9-13-1 Hyannis Harborhawks. Mentioned it in the open, but Cotuit has won 6 in a row. They did so, or they won their 6th in a row last night over the Harwich Mariners here at Lowell Park in the first of 3 straight games that the Kettleers will play at Lowell Park over the course of 3 days. The final score last night, 4-2. Cotuit got a big 2-run home run from Griffin Conine in the bottom of inning number 7 that ultimately proved to be the difference for the Kettleers. And they got another good start from Justin Hooper. Hooper went 6 innings, gave up just 5 hits, 1 run that was earned, struck out 5 and walked 1. Austin Kitchen came on and pitched 2 innings, and then Clark Cota locked the door with a scoreless 9th for his 3rd save of the year. Last night was the quickest game of the entire summer, but the last time these two teams got together in Hyannis, they played Cotuit's longest game of the entire summer. Last night's game was 2 hours and 24 minutes, but when these two teams met at McKeon Park last week, they played for 3 hours and 26 minutes in a very, very cold Hyannis, Massachusetts. Tonight it's a very, very warm Cotuit, Massachusetts. It's a clinic night here at Lowell Park. The kids are filed up the third base line in front of the Kettleers dugout. Fun all around, and it should be a good night for baseball with very few clouds in the sky. The reason these two teams played a pretty long game a couple weeks ago is because they both have struggled with some control throughout the season, namely the Hyannis Harborhawks. Hyannis comes into tonight with the 2nd most walks as a staff of any team in the Cape League. Cotuit comes in with the 4th most walks, and in that game in Hyannis a couple weeks ago, there were a combined 14 walks between the two teams, including 10 issued by Hyannis pitching. Hyannis has given up a lot of runs, too. They've struggled with run prevention all year long. They've pitched to a 5.05 team ERA, the only team of the 10 in the Cape League that has an ERA above 5. That's last in the Cape League, obviously. They also are last in the Cape League in WHIP at 1.53, and they're last in strikeouts as well with just 158. It's been particularly bad for Hyannis on the road, or excuse me, at home this year. They are just 3-8 at McKeon Park. They are 6-5-1 on the road, and the pitching has been particularly bad at home as well. They have a 6.25 ERA at home, but a pretty respectable 3.92 ERA on the road. Obviously, they're on the road tonight, but the last time they were here at Lowell Park, the Harborhawks gave up 11 runs in an 11-8 loss to Cotuit. Overall this season, Hyannis has allowed double-digit run totals 5 separate times. There's no other team in the Cape League other than Chatham that's done it more than twice. The Anglers have done it 3 times. Every other team has done it either once or twice, and Cotuit has scored double-digit runs each of the 2 games that they've played against the Harborhawks already this season. Hyannis has turned it around a bit in the last 5 games. They are 2-3 in those last 5 games, but they've pitched to a pretty decent 2.45 ERA. The problem for the Harborhawks is that the bats have gone cold. They have just a 2.22 batting average in those last 5 games. And so while they picked up a nice win a couple nights ago at Eldridge Park to defeat the Orleans Firebirds, they lost last night pretty handily to Bourne by a score of 8-3. Back at home in McKeon Park. Overall this season, Hyannis pretty good at the plate, a 269 team batting average. That's 4th best in the Cape League. They have 8 home runs. That is third fewest in the Cape League, and considering that they play in the bandbox that is McKeon Park, they'd like to see those numbers come up. They don't strike out very much, though, the second fewest in the Cape League at 156, and they don't walk very much either, just 55 bases on balls. Moral of the story for Hyannis, they're a team that puts the ball in play. A lot of slap hitters, a lot of doubles hitters. They're third in the Cape League in doubles this year. They led the Cape League in doubles last year, so Chad Gassman certainly appears to look for those players to fill runs on the season, so it'll be imperative for Kettleers. If you're Mike Roberts, Cotuit victory, he went all night and 17 pitches. The Jersey might be able to get those in the Cape League, and he'll be pitted again. So a 0 the rest of the hard play at home. So tonight on perhaps a little Matt Rigby back on the Cotuit Kettleers video network for segment number 2 of the Cotuit Kettleers pregame show in advance of tonight's matchup between your Kettleers and the visiting Hyannis Harbor Hawks. Let's take a quick spin around the Cape League. We'll check in on last night's games, give you a quick rundown of the standings, and then preview what's happening tonight across Cape Cod. First of all, last night the Kettleers defeated the Harwich Mariners 4-2, as I mentioned in segment number 1. It's win number 6 for Cotuit. They're now the hottest team in the Cape League. Meanwhile, Harwich loses their 4th in a row. Brewster defeated Falmouth in a pitcher's duel at Stony Brook Field last night. Final score there, 1-0. Good start for for J.R. McDermott for the Whitecaps. And moving along, YD defeated Wareham 3-1 at Spillane Field last night. Bourne defeated these Hyannis Harbor Hawks 8-3 at McKeon Park. And Orleans defeated Chatham 8-2 at Veterans Field. So a quick look at the standings as we begin play tonight. Orleans with the best record overall in the Cape League, and obviously the best record in the Cape League Eastern Division as well. They are 15-8, still 8-2 in their last 10, although they've cooled off a bit after their 10-game winning streak was snapped. In second place in the Cape League's Eastern Division, it is a tie between YD and Brewster. The Whitecaps have won 4 in a row to charge into that tie with the Red Sox. Then in fourth place in the Cape League's Eastern Division is Chatham. They trail the combination of YD and Brewster by 2.5 games, and then in a distant fifth, trailing Chatham for the final playoff spot in the Cape League's Eastern Division by another 2.5 games, is the Harwich Mariners, as they are 7-15-1. Moving over to the Western Division, where your Kettleers reside atop at 14-9. Again, they've won 6 in a row. They hold a 2-game cushion over the Bourne Braves in second place at 12-11. Falmouth 500 right down the middle, 5 1s in the standings for the Commodores, 11-11-1. Wareham 10-12-1, and then Hyannis just a game behind the Wareham Gatemen in fifth place for that fourth and final spot in the Cape League's Western Division at 9-11. 13-1. We'll step aside, likely have the national anthem during this break, and then Will Greer will have our starting pitching matchup for tonight's game, as well as starting lineups before first pitch of game number 24 on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network.
Back at beautiful Lowell Park on this Monday afternoon, the 10th of July for game number 24 of the summer between Hyannis and Cotuit. The children here on clinic night are now leaving the field of play, still hanging around the players a bit in foul territory down the third baseline, but every child is starting to trickle out. Looks like we'll have our first pitch around 5:02 if I had to guess tonight from Lowell Park. Will Greer, Matt Rigby alongside you. Let's go over our starting pitching matchup now. We'll begin with the first guy who's going to take the mound, and that's the #1 ERA guy in the Cape League, Zane Collins. I should correct that. He's actually #2 because just at Montgomery, the Wareham stud got the requisite number of innings last night in a start. So Montgomery now number 1, Collins number 2 at .96. And we should also mention that Montgomery's ERA is 0.00. So it's not like Zane has done anything wrong to be at number 2. Quite obviously, a 3-1 record, that .96 ERA. This will be Zane's 6th appearance. It'll be his 4th start. He has that shutout that came last Monday at Wareham Spillane Field. 16 strikeouts and 18 2/3 innings. 19 hits allowed by Zane and just 5 walks. And if you missed any or all of that broadcast last Monday, he was absolutely phenomenal. 117 pitches for those 9 shutout, 6 hit innings. 8 strikeouts as well for the Wright State lefty. We're told that he'll be on a little bit more of a pitch count today, so we'll see how long Zane can go. But as Matt profiled in the pregame show, he's a guy that can get a lot of quick count outs, and with a free swinging Hyannis bunch, we should see them swinging at early pitches from Zane and perhaps grounding out weakly to Cotuit's infield. For Hyannis, their starter, a righty out of Ole Miss, Connor Green. He's 6'4", 230 pounds. Just finished up his sophomore season at Ole Miss. So far this year, a 3.97 ERA for Green. That coming in 7 games, all out of the bullpen. 11 strikeouts and 11 1/3 innings pitched. He last pitched last Sunday at Lowell Park, gave up 4 runs, none of which were earned. Green's ERA not great at 3.97, but it would be a lot worse if you factored in all the runs he's allowed that haven't counted as earned runs thanks to some errors. He's a guy that's appeared only out of the bullpen in his 2 seasons at Ole Miss, so this will be Connor Green's first start since high school. Starting lineups now is Zane Collins finishing up his warm-up tosses. Mangum, Hampton, and Stovall, 1, 2, and 3 for Hyannis, 2 switch hitters and a righty. Then Micah Coffey, Ryan Olenek, and Robert Newstrom. And then the bottom third, Ford Proctor, Dom DiCaprio, and Reed Leonard. 3 lefties in the starting 9 against the lefty Collins. For Cotuit quickly, Conine, Ginesta, and Kinnaman, Tolia, Alexander, Avent, and then Cresto, Gonzalez, and Reese round out the starting 9 for Mike Roberts. Ivan Gonzalez has thrown down to second base. The leadoff man for Hyannis, Jake Mangum, making his way to the right side against the lefty Collins. And here to take you through innings 1 and 2 tonight, Matt Rigby.
Thanks a bunch, Will. You mentioned the 3 lefties in the starting lineup for Hyannis. That's really out of necessity for Chad Gassman. He doesn't have very many options. You look up and down the Hyannis roster, and there are 4 lefties on the bench tonight for Mr. Gassman with no righties. It's a team in the Harbor Hawks that's hit lefties pretty well so far this year, and we'll see how they fare against Cotuit's best lefty, Zane Collins. Collins with the kick in the first pitch to Mangum. He knocks it right back through the box for a leadoff single. So Jake Mangum, who worked a 14-pitch at-bat against the lefty Adam Scott to lead off the game in Hyannis a couple weeks ago, wastes no time tonight, offering it the first delivery from Zane Collins and squaring it right back through the originator to give the Harbor Hawks the first base runner. That'll bring up Reese Hampton now. Hampton a switch hitter, batting from the right side. Mangum also a switch hitter. Hampton enters play tonight, a .340 hitter in the Cape League so far this summer. He has a .350 on base percentage, no home runs, and 8 driven in. Throw over to check on Mangum, and Mangum's back in time. The last time Hyannis was here in that 11-8 victory for Cotuit on Sunday, July 2nd, we saw Jake Mangum get picked off 2 times at first base. Collins with the first pitch now to Hampton. It's a fastball that misses up and away for ball 1. Overall this season coming into play tonight, Jake Mangum is just 5 for 10 stealing bags. He has the worst stolen base percentage of any base runner with at least 10 attempts in the Cape League so far this summer. Another throw over, and again Mangum trots back in. Mangum and Hampton, a pretty good combination for the Harbor Hawks 1-2. Mangum running on the 1-0. Pitch misses low. The throw down by Gonzalez. The slide, the tag, and he is out. Jake Mangum throws his arms in the air as if to say he can't believe the call from third base umpire Ed McAvin. But a nice tag applied by Chandler Avant, and even better throw by Ivan Gonzalez. And Jake Mangum now just 5 for 11 stealing bases this year as he's caught 2 to 6. Meanwhile, that pitch missed to Reese Hampton, so the count to the 2-hole hitter for the Harbor Hawks is 2-0. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Hampton swings, lifts it to shallow right center. Moving over is Blake Reese, and Blake Reese makes the catch on the run for out number 2. You heard that right. Blake Reese in his first game as a Cotuit Kettleer tonight, playing center field as Miles Lewis gets the night off. Grayson Genista still not playing the field tonight, but in the lineup for the third straight game as the designated hitter. The rest of the outfield behind Zane tonight, Brett Kinnaman in left, Griffin Conine in right. The infield, which is probably more important behind Zane Collins tonight, given that he's a ground ball pitcher. The first pitch to Stovall, a big swing and a miss at a sinker, 0-1. The infield, Cresto on the left side. It's John's first start at third base since June the 30th when he made a pair of errors. Chandler Avan at short, who we already mentioned. Luke Alexander at second. Michael Tolia at first. The kick in the 0-1. Good breaking ball from Zane Collins. Catches the inside corner. And he jumps ahead of... No, that was a ball. Ruled by Troy Lair. And so the count goes to 1-1. Lair, our home plate umpire tonight. Ed McAvin, who I already mentioned, at third. And Stevie Williams at first. The 1-1 pitch. Stovall fooled at a breaking ball. Takes a wave and a miss. And it's 1-2. Mike Roberts' best friend, Stevie Williams, at first, I should amend. Those two got into it a few nights ago in Falmouth when the Kettleers defeated the Commodores 9-3. Stevie Williams had the plate that night. And for both of their sakes, there shouldn't be as much of an argument tonight. The 1-2, Stovall swings and loops a pitch into straightaway center. Reese, galloping to his left, makes the catch to retire the side. So Zane Collins gives a leadoff single on the first pitch he throws to Jake Mangum in the top of the first, but a caught stealing and a pair of flyouts allow Collins to face the minimum. We'll head to the home half. Kettleers turn at the plate for the first time tonight on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network. Matt Rigby and Will Greer back from Lowell Park in Cotuit, Massachusetts. We head to the home half of the first. No score between the Harbor Hawks and the Kettleers. First turn at the dish for your hometown Cotuit Kettleers. That means Griffin Conine leads things off for Cotuit. And be followed by Grayson Genista and Brett Kinnaman, the three scheduled in this bottom of the first. A trio of lefties against the righty Connor Green out of Ole Miss pitching for the Harbor Hawks. First pitch to Griffin Conine, a fastball at the belt, right down the middle of the plate. And it's 0-1. 90 miles an hour on that fastball from Connor Green. Working quickly, gets the sign from Dom DiCaprio, the kick in the 0-1, and it misses outside and low for ball one. Will mentioned it in the pregame show, but Connor Green was exclusively a reliever at Ole Miss each of his first two seasons. Now making his first start of the summer as a Harbor Hawk. The 1-1, good breaking ball, looked like a slider there, but it missed a bit low for ball two. Griffin enters tonight with a 6-game hitting streak and a 3-game home run streak. The kick in the 2-1. Conine swings, knocks it towards the right side. It gets underneath the glove of the second baseman Stovall and into shallow right for a base hit. So Griffin Conine gets himself into a hitter's count and attacks a fastball in a 2-1 pitch from Connor Green. It's now a 7-game hitting streak for Griffin Conine. And just as Jake Mangum did in the top of the first, Griffin leads things off with a single in the bottom of inning number 1 as Grayson Genista comes to the plate. Genista was 1 for 4 last night. He's now 2 for 8 since returning from his 4-game hiatus. First pitch to Genesta. Slider misses down and in for ball 1. Grayson enters tonight still hovering right around 300 for his 2017 Cape League average. He's at 297. He has a good on-base percentage as well at 392. That's a top 20 OBP in the Cape League. The kick in the 1-0 to Genesta. He swings, rifles it towards the right side, looking up Newstrom. That's off the wall, and Newstrom will have to play it off a hop. Conine rounds second and moves up to third. Genesta takes a wide turnaround first, but puts the brakes on with a long single. It's the second straight single to start the bottom of the first, and the Kettleers have runners on the corners with nobody out for Brett Kinnaman. So each of his first 3 games back now, Grayson Genesta has picked up a base hit in his first at-bat. And for the 3rd consecutive night, the duo of Conine and Genesta has led off a first inning by each getting on base. Kicking the pitch to Brett Kinnaman. Breaking ball catches the outside corner for strike 1. Talked last night, Will, about the Kettleers' leadoff on base percentage starting innings as a team so far this year. First the 0-1 to Kinnaman. He swings, knocks it towards the left side hole. That'll squirt through for an RBI single. Griffin Conine comes in to score. Genesta moves up to second, and Brett Kinnaman, with his 11th run driven in of the year, pulls into first base. It's 1-0 Kettleers. Anyway, to complete that thought, Will, Cotuit enters tonight as a team with a leadoff on base percentage of .370. I asked last night a little bit rhetorically about how many times the Kettleers had led off an inning by getting on base, and in how many of those innings they had scored. First, the first pitch to Tolia, big swing and a miss at an 89-mile-an-hour fastball. It's 0-1. I guessed at the time that it hadn't been enough innings, or at least it felt like it hadn't been enough, but I went back and looked this morning. Coming into tonight's game, the Kettleers had gotten the leadoff runner on in 72 innings so far this summer. Kicking the 0-1 to Tolia, and he chops it foul towards the right side. It's 0-2. And in 44 of those 72 innings entering tonight's game, the Kettleers had scored a run. That's a 61% clip. And the baseball run expectancy average is 43.5% of the time that you'll score if you get the leadoff runner on. Green checks on Genesta at second, now spins and bluffs him back towards the bag. The point is, not only has Cotuit been otherworldly really at getting the leadoff runner of innings on, they've also been otherworldly at turning that into scoring. They've done it again here in the bottom of the first. The first 3 men have reached, all via singles, and it's already 1-0. The kick in the 0-2 to Tolia, swinging a foul tip into the mid of Dom DiCaprio for strike 3, and there's 1 away. It's the 16th strikeout of the summer for Michael Tolia, and now that'll bring up perhaps the hottest Kettleer of them all, Luke Alexander. Alexander working on a 9-game hitting streak now after picking up a double last night. He's 10 for 22 during that 9-game hitting streak. He's got his season average up to .311 to begin play tonight. And he swings at the first pitch, dumps it into shallow right center. That gets down for a base hit. Genesta rounding third. He's being waved home. The throw cut off. Grayson scores, and it's 2-0 Kettleers. Make it 10 games in a row for Luke Alexander.
Yeah, Luke continues to stay high. It looks like the fastball from Connor Green topping out at maximum 90 miles an hour, and Cotuit batters have been able to put that fastball pretty much where they've wanted to without extremely good velocity from Connor Green. We saw Genesta go to the pull side of the field. We saw Kinnaman go the other way as he was trying to do, and that time an inside-out swing for Alexander results in an RBI single.
So here's Chandler Avant now. He swings at the first pitch, hits it into straightaway center. Breaking back initially is Hampton. Now it gets over his head and rolls up against the wall. Kinnaman had to hold up. He's being waved now. He'll come in to score. Stopping at third is Alexander, and cruising into second with an RBI double. The 5th hit of the inning for the Kettleers is Chandler Avant. It's 3-0. So Cotuit wasting absolutely no time against Connor Green here in the bottom of the first. 5 of the first 6 Cotuit Kettleers have reached base via hits. And the last two have done so attacking the first offering they've seen out of the right hand of the Ole Miss righty, Connor Green. That'll bring up John Cresto now. Cresto, after a couple nights off, back in the lineup tonight. And he takes the first pitch, a fastball for a strike. It's 0-1. Cresto with a 9-game on-base streak entering tonight's game. He's 18th in the Cape League in average. And he's 7th in OPS. Kicking the 0-1 to John. Swing and a miss at a breaking ball, and it's 0-2. Cresto does still have the second most strikeouts in the Cape League to begin play tonight, trailing only his teammate Brett Kinnaman. John has 28, Kinnaman has 30. Kinnaman's already singled in this inning. He's at third, and Cresto watches the 0-2 catch the outside corner for strike 3. John with a few words with home plate umpire Troy Lair. He didn't think that pitch was inside enough, but Troy Lair rings him up anyway, and there are 2 away. With still 2 on and 3 already home now for Ivan Gonzalez.
I think Cresto asked Mr. Lair if he swung or not. I read his lips and he said, "Did I swing?" And the pitch was a called strike. And if he called, but a called third strike nonetheless.
Gonzalez takes the first pitch, fastball for a strike on the inner half. Ivan last played Wednesday in Falmouth. Now 2 for 13 to begin his summer. Swings at the 0-1 and chops it off his back foot foul. It's 0-2. Been a very polar inning for Connor Green so far. He's now faced 7 Kettleer batters. 5 of them have reached via hits, and the 2 outs have been recorded by strikeouts. He's not out of trouble yet either. 3 already home, 2 on. The 0-2 pitch to Gonzalez. Misses low and outside for ball 1. Runner at second is Avan. He has good speed. Correction to what I said a few moments ago. The runner at third is not Brett Kinnaman. It's Luke Alexander. Kinnaman has already come in to score in this inning, thanks to the RBI double that put Chandler Avan at second. Now the 1-2 to Gonzalez. He fishes and comes up empty for strike 3. So Connor Green strikes out all 3 batters that he retires in the inning. The problem for Mr. Green is that he gave up 3 runs on 5 hits. There were no errors in the inning, and the Kettleers leave a pair in scoring position. After 1, Zane Collins has the 3-run lead. He's back onto the mound for the second when we return on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network. Matt Rigby and Will Greer back with you from Lowell Park in Cotuit, Massachusetts. It was a very, very pleasant and productive first inning for the Kettleers as they staked themselves to a 3-0 lead on the strength of 5 base hits, only one of which was an extra base hit off the bat of Chandler Avan. And now Zane Collins is back onto the mound to begin inning number 2 and attack the heart of the Hyannis order. First pitch is a breaking ball for a strike on the inside corner to Micah Coffey. It's 0-1. Coffey, Olenek, and Newstrom to put names to the heart of that Harbor Hawk order. 4, 5, and 6. Lefty, righty, and lefty, the 3 due up. Kicking the 0-1. And Coffey swings, rifles it to straightaway center. That'll dunk down in front of Blake Reese for a base hit. Reese plays it on a hop and gets it back in. And for the second straight inning, the Harbor Hawks pick up a leadoff single. That'll bring up Ryan Olenek. Olenek, a first baseman tonight from the right side out of Ole Miss, enters tonight's game a .266 hitter on the season. Zane Collins needed just 8 pitches to get out of the top of the first. Olenek squares to bunt and pushes it foul up the first base line. That's something we talked about in the pregame show. We don't think Zane Collins will go anywhere near his 117 pitches thrown last Monday night in Wareham. We're not exactly sure on what the limit for Collins would be. But given how early Hyannis puts the ball in play and counts, if Zane Collins can be getting outs tonight, he still might last pretty deep in this game from an inning standpoint. Olenek swings at the 0-1 and lifts it foul out of play, 0-2. Hyannis has the fewest walks of any team in the Cape League with just 55, and they have the second fewest strikeouts. So not a team that runs a ton of deep counts. Collins in a strikeout count here has Olenek 0-2. He gets the sign from Gonzalez, the kick from the stretch and the pitch, rifled towards the left side. That'll dunk down for a base hit. Olenek with a good piece of hitting on a fastball running in on his hands. Gets the barrel out in front, and the Harbor Hawks have the table set here in the top of the second. 2 on with nobody out for Robert Newstrom.
Looked like a couple elevated sinkers from Zane Collins to begin this second inning, Matt. Those are pitches that last Monday at Wareham were ground balls, but if you elevate the sinker, it loses a lot of its sinking effectiveness, and that time Olenek able to line it into left field for the second single, and as many batters here in the top of the second.
Newstrom out of the University of Iowa bats from the left side. Playing right field tonight, enters play a .277 hitter on the summer. Swings at the first pitch, sinker from Zane Collins. That one's sunk enough. Newstrom comes up empty, and it's 0-1. Newstrom's been the most productive Harbor Hawk at the plate from a run-producing standpoint. 3 home runs. He's the only Harbor Hawk with multiple home runs. And he leads the team with 12 RBIs. Does have 17 strikeouts, however. It's the most of any Harbor Hawk as well. The 0-1, big fish and a miss at a slider from Zane Collins. And Zane jumps ahead for the second straight batter, 0-2. Another lefty, Ford Proctor, awaits on deck. Then 2 righties, DiCaprio and Leonard, to finish out the Hyannis batting order. 2 on, nobody out, 3-0 the score. Kettleers lead here, top of the second. Collins stares in, gets the sign from Gonzalez. The kick in the 0-2. Newstrom lays off another breaking ball that Gonzalez does a good job to get in front of, as it's now 1-2. There's about a 59-foot breaking ball there from Zane Collins. And Gonzalez had to pounce to his left to make sure that ball didn't get behind him. Kettleers entered tonight's game with 37 wild pitches as a staff, far and away the most in the Cape League. And Gonzalez didn't allow it to become 38 there. Long stare in here from Collins, and finally Robert Newstrom asks for time and steps out. Now Collins reshuffles the deck with Gonzalez. Still staring in for quite a while. Finally comes set at the chest. From the stretch, the kick in the 1-2. Newstrom swings and gets just a piece, fouling it off towards his own dugout. Fans, we want to make a public service announcement. We'll make it a few times as this game goes along. We learned last night that our YouTube feed is a bit behind from an audio standpoint. And we think we have a solution to syncing up the action on the field with the words out of our mouths. First, the 1-2. Newstrom waits on a breaking ball and hammers it down the right field line, out of the reach of Tolia, and into right field. Rounding third and coming in to score the game's first run for the Harbor Hawks is Coffey. Cruising into second with a RBI double is Robert Newstrom, and it's 3-1. Olenek moves up to third. And Zane Collins gives up his first run in 2 weeks, as the Harbor Hawks have put the first 3 men on, all via base hits here in the top of the second, and Mike Roberts pops out of the dugout for a conference with his lefty. Anyway, to finish up that thought on the solution that we think we've come up with, if you pull open our Mixler feed, which is primarily audio, it should be fairly well synced up with the YouTube feed. that offers audio and video. So if you just mute the YouTube feed, you'll have the video for YouTube. And if you turn Mixlr up as loud as you would prefer, you'll have the audio, and it's only about a second or so behind, which is better than the delay that we've been experiencing with the audio and video on our YouTube feed. Anyway, we'll talk about that a few more times as the night goes on, and hopefully if you make that adjustment, it can improve your overall viewing experience. Mound visit over now for Mike Roberts. The entire infield resumes their posts. Zane Collins back onto the mound, looking to limit further damage here in the top of the second. As after the Kettleers scored 3 in the bottom of the first, the Harbor Hawks have the tying run in scoring position, with still nobody out here in the top of the second. Ford Proctor now the batter, another lefty, and he watches a first pitch sinker miss down and in at 83 for ball 1. Proctor enters tonight's game, a .254 hitter so far on the summer. Shortstop out of Rice. 1 home run and 8 RBI so far this summer. The 1-0 pitch catches the zone at the knees, outside corner, and it's 1-1. Proctor just finished up his sophomore season for the Owls. And there's another Owl for the Harbor Hawks in the on-deck circle, Dom DiCaprio. Collins comes set. The kick and the 1-1. Proctor lays off. Another ball in the dirt. Nice block by Gonzalez. And Proctor jumps ahead in the count, 2-1. Ford Proctor was a pest last year against the Kettleers. He is a second-year Harbor Hawk. Proctor went 7 for 22 with 3 doubles, 3 walks, and 2 strikeouts versus Cotuit last year. The 2-1 pitch, good breaking ball from Collins. Proctor has to spit on it as it catches the outside corner, and it's 2-2. Those 3 doubles that Proctor hit against Cotuit last year, 3 of just 6 doubles that Ford hit all summer. Proctor was the Conference USA Freshman of the Year back in 2016. Just finished his sophomore year, hit .311 for the Owls. The kick in the 2-2, Proctor swings and hammers it foul back behind the screen. We'll do it again. Proctor does have some pop. Hit 4 home runs as a sophomore for Rice, 3 home runs as a freshman, and already has 1 up here this summer for Hyannis. Looking to cash in a pair of ducks on the pond. The 2-2, he swings, it's broken bat, it looped towards the shortstop. Avant picks it up, has to hurry, and the throw is not in time as Proctor beats it out at first. Coming in to score the second run of the inning is Ryan Olenek. Moving up to third is Robert Newstrom. And on at first with the 4th consecutive single to start the top of the second is Ford Proctor.
Proctor could not have rolled that baseball out any better. I know it's a cliche, but he couldn't have rolled that baseball out any better and placed it more perfectly than he did. The cracked bat floater just over Collins' head in front of both Avant and Alexander. And Chandler made a really nice attempt, but just not enough time to get the speedy Proctor at first.
It's now 3-2, with each team having amassed 5 hits. Dom DiCaprio swings at the first pitch, grounds it towards short. Avant has it skip over his glove and into shallow left. That'll go down as an E6. Another run comes in to score. Everybody is safe. Proctor at second and DiCaprio at first. It's 3-3, and there's still nobody out here in the top of the second. The ball looked like it had a little bit of English on it. It took a third hop just beyond the infield cutout. But Chandler Avant will tell you that's a play he should make because he had it in perfect position and just watched it skip over the top of his glove at the last second to allow DiCaprio to reach and tie this game. Reed Leonard the batter now, 5th man to come to the plate this inning. Zane Collins has allowed the previous 6-man rather. Zane Collins has allowed the previous 5 to reach. Leonard squares to bunt and pulls the bat back. He missed everything altogether for strike 1. And now Gonzalez goes out for a chat with Zane Collins. Looks like the Kettleers will play in at the corners here against Leonard. Obviously expecting a bunt, with Leonard just an .091 hitter entering tonight's game at the plate. Leonard 2 for his first 22 this summer. 1 single, 1 double, 3 strikeouts, 3 walks. Looking to put 2 in scoring position if he can lay down this bunt and turn the lineup card over for Jake Mangum. He squares again. The 0-1 pitch nubbed up the third baseline. Collins off the mound, fields it with the bare hand, gathers himself, and fires on to first in time for out number 1. Successful sacrifice for Reed Leonard, although it wasn't the most graceful of bunts. He moves DiCaprio up to second and Proctor to third. As I profiled, Jake Mangum will have 2 in scoring position with 1 out for his second at-bat of the night. Infield's going to come in now for the Kettleers all the way around, looking to cut off what would be the go-ahead run here in the top of the second at home plate. Now Collins comes set. And the first pitch to Mangum. Swung on and grounded towards second. Alexander picks it up. He's going home. Proctor is dead to rights as he's tagged out for out number 2. And the score remains 3-3. So the infield in works out there for Mike Roberts and the Kettleers. Zane Collins gets the ground ball he needed as Jake Mangum attacks the first pitch for the second time. And now the batter will be Reese Hampton. Resetting the base pass, Mangum at first, DiCaprio at third. Tolia holding Mangum on, and Cresto playing behind the runner at the third base bag. Hampton's 0 for 1. He flew out to straightaway center his first time. And he lays off a first pitch breaking ball that catches the outside corner. It's 0-1. All things considered, if Zane Collins can get out of this inning allowing just 3 runs, he'd have to feel pretty good about himself after allowing the first 5 Harbor Hawks of the inning to reach base. Collins stares in, Mangum goes, the pitch misses low, Gonzalez with no throw, and Jake Mangum has a successfully swiped bag at second base. I want to amend something I said when Mangum was caught stealing back in the first. I said that it made him 5 for 11 at the time stealing bases. I had read my stat sheet wrong. He is now 7 for 14, still just 50% as a base stealer so far this summer. Now 2 in scoring position for Hampton, still 2 outs. And the 1-1 pitch lays off a breaking ball that misses downstairs and in. 2 balls and 1 strike. Hunter Stovall, the 3-hitter, would be next if Hampton can keep the inning alive. And Collins looking to get out of a hard-working top of the second. Here's the 2-1. Hampton swings and chops it towards short. Avant to his right, circles, gloves, fires across the diamond in time to get Hampton by a half a stride and retire the side. Hyannis scores 3 times to tie things up, though, in the top of the second. They do so on the strength of 4 base hits, 1 error, and they leave a pair. We'll move to the home half. Now 3-3 the score on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network. Matt Rigby and Will Greer back from Lowell Park. After an inning and a half, this game already has 6 combined runs, 10 combined hits, and 1 error. Those are the types of games that these two teams, the Harbor Hawks and the Kettleers, have played so far this summer. It's 3-3 your score as Blake Reese will lead things off in the bottom of the second. The first pitch from Green to Reese in an all-SEC matchup is a fastball that misses upstairs for ball 1. Blake Reese taking his first at-bat as a Kettleer this summer, fresh off of his College World Series title. Attends the University of Florida, if you can't put 2 and 2 together there, as the 1-0 is popped up towards the left side. Looking for it, Coffey, he can't find it, and he's called off by Ford Proctor, his shortstop, who makes the catch in foul ground for out number 1. More introduction on Blake Reese the next time he comes to the plate. But for now, Griffin Conine turns the lineup card over for the second time through against Connor Green. Conine singled and scored back in the 3-run first for the Kettleers. That was an inning in which Cotuit amassed 5 hits, but ultimately couldn't do enough damage to preserve their 3-run lead. They've seen it evaporate now as the first pitch breaking ball is over to Conine for strike 1. Griffin now with a 7-game hitting streak. He's 9 for 26 during that span. If he takes the 0-1 for a strike on the outside corner, it's 0-2. 9 for 26 with a double, 3 home runs, and 10 of the 20 runs he's driven in so far this summer. All that in the last 7 games. The 0-2, fastball right down the middle for strike 3, and Griffin Conine is rung up on 3 pitches. A bit of an odd at-bat there for Conine. He doesn't offer it any of the 3 he sees from Connor Green. Not sure we've seen a 3-pitch strikeout of Conine all summer in which he doesn't swing at any of the offerings. And there are now quickly 2 away for Connor Green in the bottom of the second, with Grayson Genista the batter. Genista singled and scored his first time, and he takes a first pitch breaking ball for a strike at the belt. It's 0-1. Predominantly breaking balls from Connor Green so far in this second inning. He started all 3 of the batters that he's faced so far in this Cotuit half with first pitch breaking balls. Green with the kick in the 0-1 to Genista. Genista chops it right back through the box. High second hop for Stovall, the second baseman. He gloves it and fires on to first in time to complete the 4-3 putout. Nothing across for Cotuit in the bottom half of the second. We move to the third with the score tied at 3 between the Harbor Hawks and the Kettleers on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network. In order in the top of the first, then through 26 pitches and faced 8 batters in the top of the second, giving up 3 runs. Connor Green, on the other hand, faced 8 batters and threw 20 pitches in his first inning, but threw just 7 to get the Kettleers in order in the second. That has us at 3-3, and now Zane Collins back out for the third.
Sure is, Matt. It's been a really strange ball game up to this point, as you just alluded to, with the 6 combined runs, 10 combined hits, and 1 combined error. Through just 2 innings of this one. Stovall, Coffey, and Olenek do up, and Hunter Stovall, the Mississippi State Bulldog, second baseman today, looks at a first pitch change-up low from Zane at 1-0. Collins working quickly, fires a 1-0 sinker, grounded foul at the third base line. Stovall 0 for 1, a deep fly out to the center fielder Blake Reese back in the first. Really nice crowd on hand today at Lowell Park. And we are getting quite spoiled with the weather the last week or so. 1-1, fastball misses inside. 2-1 now the count. 79 degrees the temperature. Again, partly cloudy skies, winds right around 10-15 miles an hour. And it's just been tremendous weather the last couple days here at Lowell Park. Game 2 of a 3-game homestand as the Kettleers try to improve to 15-9 on the season. 2-1 Bender over at the knee, so the count now 2-2 on Stovall. A lot of Mississippi represented in this ball game. Stovall, a Mississippi State Bulldog. Olenek, who's in the hole, an Ole Miss Rebel. Of course, Luke Alexander at second base, a Mississippi State guy. Connor Green, the starter for Hyannis, an Ole Miss guy. 2-2 breaking ball, swung through, strike 3. Nice pitch that time from Collins. Had Stovall completely fooled. So the first strikeout for Zane, and there's one away from Micah Coffey. We haven't necessarily seen the sinker in full effect from Zane so far in start number 4 of the summer today. Lefty-lefty matchup as Coffey steps in. Looks at a breaking ball on the inner half for strike 1. So far for Collins, just 2 groundouts. Couple flyouts, sacrifice bunt, and strikeout. He's elevated the sinker at times. That has hurt Zane, especially in that 3-run second inning. As the 0-1 misses outside. And the breaking ball appears to be spot on for Collins so far. He's been able to locate that pitch. He's had Hyannis hitters fooled. That's something that a lot of sinker balls don't necessarily have. 1-1 misses outside, 2-1. Sinker ballers, I should clarify. We talked to Zane about that about a week ago, and he said he really trusts that breaking pitch, and that is quite a pitch to have it in your back pocket when you do have the sinker ball that's usually so effective. 2-1, sinker misses low and away, so the count now 3-1 from the Hyannis cleanup man, Micah Coffey. Coffey a single and a run back in the second. He's now hit safely in 9 out of his last 10 ball games for Chad Gassman. 3-1, broken bat, left side, Avant ranges over, gloves on a couple hops, throws across the diamond in time. A nice stretch from Michael Tolia, retiring Micah Coffey by about a half a stride, and there are 2 gone now in the 3rd for the 5-hitter, Ryan Olenek.
We've seen Chandler Avant make that exact same play 2 times now over the course of 2 2/3 innings with Collins on the mound. We've mentioned it every single time Zane Collins has pitched so far this year, Will, but it's imperative for Mike Roberts to have his best defense, especially up the middle infield behind Zane Collins, and although Avant committed an error in the last inning, 2 really nice plays to back up his pitcher.
Olenek looks at a first pitch breaking ball at the knees for strike 1. Olenek 1 for 1. He had a single on one of those elevated sinkers to left field back in the second. Scored the second run of the ball game for Hyannis. 0-1 misses outside. The Ole Miss Rebel stands in the right-handed hitter's batter's box. Olenek 6'5", 185 pounds. If I had to describe him with a noun, it would be a twig. 1-1, fastball sent the other way. Conine ranges back. It's playable for Griffin, who retreats and gloves near his head for out number 3. A much-needed 3-up, 3-down inning for Zane Collins. We're through 2.5 now from Lowell Park. Hyannis and Cotuit squared away at 3 on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network. Welcome back to Lowell Park on this Monday early evening from Cotuit, Massachusetts. Will Greer and Matt Rigby alongside you as Connor Green, after just a 7-pitch, 3-up, 3-down, bottom of the second, out for inning number 3. He'll face Kinnaman, Tolia, and Alexander, the heart of the Cotuit starting 9, as the Kettleers look to retake the lead, and now a 3-3 ball game here in the bottom of the third. Will Greer and Matt Rigby alongside you. Matt mentioned it a few innings ago, but we believe our audio on YouTube is a bit delayed, so the solution for that, as Green out of the windup, fires a first pitch changeup that's swung through by Kinnaman for strike one. Pull up our Mixler feed, and you can then mute YouTube. The Mixler feed is at Cotuit Broadcasting. If you go to Mixler.com, 0-1 from Green, fastball outside, but called a strike by Troy Lair, our home plate umpire. And then you can get the slightly less delayed audio to go along with the video feed on the YouTube live stream. 0-2 fastball outside, swung through for strike three. Already strikeout number 5 for the Ole Miss righty Connor Green. A nearly unhittable pitch that time, right on the outer black. Kinnaman swung through, and there's one gone here in the third for Michael Tolia. So Green beginning to settle in out there. He's retired the last 6 batters he's faced. And Tolia, the switch hitter from the left side, looks at a first pitch fastball that misses up and away for ball one. Michael 0 for 1, swinging strikeout back in the first. As Green, working quickly, fires a 1-0 changeup. Then Tolia's early on, it's 1-1. 3-3 ball game. Cotuit and Hyannis going at it here in the 24th game of the summer. 1-1 changeup, swung through again by Michael. The count now 1 ball and 2 strikes. Told that we'll have Austin Kitchen and Justin Hooper joining us in the next half inning, so be sure to tune in for that. Yes, if you're listening, don't go anywhere for that. Alexander on deck. As the 1-2 from the Ole Miss righty Green chopped up the middle. And no, Hyannis Harborhawk able to get to that ball as it trickles into center field for a 1-out base hit. So Tolia now 7 for his last 16 at the dish. A well-placed chopper that time, past a diving Hunter Stovall. And there's a 1-out base runner for Luke Alexander here in the third. Breaks up a stretch of 6 straight Kettleers retired by Connor Green, and now the Ole Miss righty will go back to the stretch as he was for the majority of that bottom half of the first. First pitch, slider misses outside, nicely taken by Alexander for ball one. Ryan Olenek, the first baseman, holding on Michael Tolia at first. 1-0 from Green, fastball cued foul over toward the Hyannis dugout. Popped up that time, out of play. It's 1-1. Green working quickly. Shakes off his catcher. Now fires a 1-1. Changeup that misses just outside. So the count now 2 balls and 1 strike on Luke Alexander. Luke 1 for 1, an RBI single that was blooped into center field back in the first. Now has a 10-game hitting streak as Green throws over to Olenek and Tolia back in safely. Chandler Avant waits on deck for the Kettleers as Cotuit again looking to reclaim the lead here in the third. 2-1 from Green. Fastball misses just low, and the count now 3 balls and 1 strike on Luke Alexander. Green hasn't walked a batter just yet. He hasn't really struggled with his command at all. That 3-run first for the Kettleers was all based on early AB swings from Cotuit. 3-1. Rope to the third baseman Coffey, who's up with it. Throws to the second baseman Stovall for 1. On to Olenek at first for an inning-ending double play. The Kettleers get a 1-out base runner in the form of Michael Tolia, but they cannot score in their half of the third. So we'll head to the fourth. Still locked up at 3 is Austin Kitchen and Justin Hooper set to join us on the other side on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network. Back in Lowell Park to the fourth we go. Hyannis and Cotuit doing battle in game number 24 of the summer. 3-3 ball game as we head to the fourth. Robert Newstrom, Ford Proctor, and Dom DiCaprio due up for the Harbor Hawks. And we're very pleased to be joined by Kettleer greats Justin Hooper and Austin Kitchen here in the fourth as Newstrom steps in and looks at a first pitch bender over at the knees for strike one. How's it going, guys? How you doing?
Not too bad. How are you?
Doing well. Season obviously improving with every game. The team red hot right now. You two, a big reason why the last couple days. What's it been like to go on a 6-game winning streak? Maybe 7 today.
It's definitely nice. I mean, we're all clicking as a team right now. For us as a pitching staff, everyone's pretty much contributing all around, and we're getting good starts out of guys like Hoop and other guys like that, especially Zane today, coming out, getting us 4 already, and just the whole pitching staff from Billis to Noah Davis, everybody just contributing, key guys out of the pen, Shugart, been able to pitch the past couple of days. So everyone's just clicking. The offense is supporting us with some runs.
0-2, chop to the right side. Tolia up with it and wins the race to the bag, retiring Newstrom for out number 1. Justin, it's your second year with the Kettleers, obviously. It's our second year as broadcasters as well, something you probably didn't know. But we were able to see you a couple times last year, and just watching you this year versus last, it looks like you're a whole lot more comfortable out on the mound. Is that a fair statement?
I mean, my game hasn't really changed. It's just more, more mound work from this year at UCLA. But, at the end of the day, it's all about just competing and having fun and competing for our guys.
Proctor, the batter now, chops one up the middle. The second baseman, Alexander, ranges over and cannot come up with that ground ball. So Ford Proctor will reach at first. It's an error on Luke Alexander, so a one-out base runner now for Dom DiCaprio. What do you guys do on a day like today when you know you both pitched yesterday, you're not going to be used? It's kind of an off day, more or less, right?
Yeah, for us, I mean, especially pitching yesterday, it's more so just work on some mechanical things, work on the arm, strengthening everything up, and staying loose, things like that. So it's a big recovery day for us and taking care of our bodies. But it's nice just to be around the guys, hanging in the dugout, and just enjoying it and having fun.
DiCaprio steps into the right side, looks at a first pitch changeup blocked by Ivan Gonzalez for ball 1. DiCaprio 0 for 1. Reached on the air by Avant back in the second. Did get an RBI for that play with the runner at third, Newstrom, coming home. Tie ball game as DiCaprio steps back in. Collins from the third base side of the rubber fires a 1-0 that misses low. Now the count 2-0. We ask every pitcher that comes up here, guys, the baseball player, probably a pitcher for you guys that you most model your games after. We'll start with you, Austin. Is there one guy in the majors?
I would say Drew Smiley. He's a guy that doesn't throw too hard. I'm not a flamethrower or anything, and he's a pitchability guy. I like to think I have some pitchability, so that's who I would model my game after.
It's one of the most off-the-beaten-path picks we've ever had up here.
Yeah, I don't like to go.
It makes sense, though, the way you described it.
Yeah, I don't like to go mainstream, all the Kershaw or the Chapman guys like that. It's not my style yet.
Very respectable pick. You get a lot of Greg Maddox's, 3-0. DiCaprio shows bunt and looks at an outside fastball for strike 1. Justin, do you have an off-the-beaten-path kind of pick, or are you going to give us a household name? What's your guy?
I've definitely, just admired the way he is a mainstream guy because of the way he competes. But Chris Sale, just in the fact that he, is continuously, battling, and he's never complacent. And he's never trying to, he's always competing. Every time you'll see him pitch, he's always fired up to pitch for his guys in the Red Sox. And, that's something you can really, pay attention to and see every time he steps on the mound. He's, fired up to pitch.
Sure. Smiley and Sale. Works for me. DiCaprio draws a 1-out walk, so there are 2 on, and Leonard now the batter. Looks at a first pitch sinker from Zane for strike 1. Is there anything that surprised you about Cape Cod, Austin, whether it be baseball or non-baseball related?
Honestly, the whole fishing aspect of the off days, I've never really been able to fish and stuff like that. That's new to me.
One big rip and a miss. It's 0-2.
As far as the style of play, it's more relaxed and just fun. Everyone just goes out there, competes, and the chemistry is a lot better than I thought it would be. A summer team, being with a lot of new guys from all over the country. You would think that that you don't click as fast, but coming up here, everything is pretty much smooth. I mean, everybody on the team loves one another, so it's definitely fun to play with. And didn't think it'd be that smooth of a transition. It made everything really easy. So
0-2 breaking ball taken in the dirt. Leonard now in a 1-2 count. How many times have you gone fishing, and what's the biggest / most impressive fish you've caught so far?
I'd say I probably fished about 4 times since I've been up here. Haven't caught anything too big. I caught I think it was a 12-inch striper, something like that. So nothing too crazy.
1-2 misses just outside, so now the count 2-2. Justin, is there anything that stands out as very different, this team versus last, or your second summer on Cape Cod versus the first? Any big differences this year versus last for you?
I mean, I haven't really gone too much. I've actually recently found kayaking to be a thing for me.
Okay.
I went kayaking last night at sunset, and I loved it. I'm not really a big outdoors person. I've kind of been more in the city, but coming from the San Francisco area, then down to Los Angeles, and so coming out here, you know, it's even last year was a culture shock, and coming back again, it's just, you know, something I can really appreciate until I go back to school. But yeah, kayaking.
Has kayaking made its way to the West Coast?
No,
2-2 from Collins,
not
misses
for me.
outside.
I'm more of a surfer, but kayaking is definitely gonna be the thing till I go home.
Okay. Do you have a kayak? Do you rent a kayak?
There's one like at this place that I go and I just take it out and I put it back. So
sounds pretty good to me.
I go pretty early. I went this morning at like 6:45. So
3-2. Leonard grounds through the
Got
left
him.
side. Scoring from second is Proctor as Kinnaman throws in. Cut off. No, it's not. It gets by Ivan Gonzalez, and now DiCaprio moves up to third. Leonard to second. We'll see how that play is scored. Should be an RBI single for Reed Leonard, and then an error on perhaps Brett Kinnaman throwing back in. 2 in scoring position now. A 4-3 ball game. Hyannis leading Cotuit here in the fourth. From a baseball perspective, guys, is there anything that's surprised you on the diamond? You mentioned, Austin, the chemistry with the team. But pitching-wise, is the competition as good as it was built up to be? Is it not quite as good? What stood out to you?
Honestly, I mean, I think it's a little bit better. I mean, everybody on our team, I mean, that's the most power arms I've ever seen or ever been around. You know, Coastal Carolina, we have a lot of guys that can run it up there, but from everybody on the staff being able to throw, you know, most 90+, I mean, it's just unbelievable. And everybody else, all the other teams throw out as a starter, I mean, everyone's usually a pretty good arm. So it's just definitely a pitching league, and then the hitters as well. Just looking so comfortable in the box, especially for guys that, you know, they haven't seen us before usually. I mean, it's definitely everything it was made out to be and a little more.
Mangum looks at 2 straight fastballs that miss outside, so the count 2-0 as the infield comes in for Cotuit. Again, 2 in scoring position, just 1 out here in the fourth of 4-3 ball game. CNR warming in the Cotuit bullpen down the left field line. See how much longer Zane can go in this one as the 2-0 popped up along the infield. Blake Reese ranging in, Avant ranging out, and that ball drops in front of Reese for a bloop single. Scoring from third is DiCaprio. Jake Mangum alertly taking second base, so still 2 in scoring position. Now a 5-3 ball game, and an RBI single for Jake Mangum. What is that like as a pitcher, guys, when you make a pitch like that? We'll start with you, Justin, I guess, and it just somehow drops into center field. What's that feeling like?
I mean, obviously everyone's trying to do the best that they can. No one's trying to sabotage your teammate, but that's just, when you make good pitches, guys are usually there. So that's just tough, and you just gotta, in this situation, get a ground ball for sure, strikeout ground ball.
What's Ivan Gonzalez now telling Zane Collins out on the mound?
Keep competing. I mean, he's doing a heck of a job right now. Just keep making pitches.
No, I'm asking you questions you might not have the answers to, but you know better than I do the perspective out there on the mound. Hampton now the batter. 2 runs home already for Hyannis. Still 2 in scoring position with 1 out as the infield remains in. This Hyannis group, a pesky bunch. You started against them a couple weeks ago, right, Justin? As the first pitch misses low to Hampton.
Yeah.
1 through 9. High contact guys, not a ton of pop, but guys who just put the bat on the ball.
No, yeah, they're early swingers for sure. They want to get their swings off. So definitely good cross count team. Change up breaking balls, inside fastballs.
1-0. Hampton fouls out of play. Back behind the Hyannis dugout, it's 1-1. Is there anything you all are looking to do that you haven't yet done for the remainder of the summer? half a season left. Anything, again, baseball related, non-baseball related that you want to cross off the bucket list on Cape Cod?
Honestly, I feel like I've done a lot. I've kayaked once. That's something new for me, being a city kid too from Pittsburgh. I never really done that ever. It's definitely something new, but I'm not sure. Whatever else comes across that I think that's new, something I haven't tried. I'm not a real outdoorsy person either, but whatever comes my way, I'm usually pretty easygoing. I'd like to try, but I feel like I've accomplished a lot, learned a lot of new stuff, and living the host family up here that's pretty outdoorsy too. That showed me a lot of new stuff. Especially way of life up here and things, how people act and stuff. I mean, it's definitely nice, but I'm not sure what else there is to do. But like I said, whatever comes across, I'm all for it.
Use the same kayak that Justin's found. It doesn't apparently have an owner. 1-2 poke to the right side. Alexander cuts it off and flips to Tolley at first. And now Jake Mangum in a rundown. Not sure where he was going. The throw comes to the plate. Tag applied. Not in time. That's Reed Leonard scoring from third. A questionable call
Here comes
at
Coach.
best from Troy Lair, our home plate umpire.
Get him, Coach.
What do you think, guys? Leonard never slid, and that might have complicated the call a bit, but looked like the
I
tag
think
was
he's
applied in
out.
time from up here, at least to me.
I think he's out. If he slides, I think he's in there, but that's a tough call. He was definitely out, though.
Mike Roberts doesn't appear to be too pleased as he's slowly making his way back toward the Cotuit dugout. It's the third run home of the inning for Hyannis. It's a 6-3 ball game now. Not sure where Jake Mangum was going, but it ends up resulting in a run for the Harbor Hawks. And the batter now, Hunter Stovall, the Mississippi State Bulldog from the right side.
See how
Justin-
far up in the box he is right now?
Yeah.
So yeah, Stovall's left foot almost on the chalk at the front of the batter's box as Hunter looks at an inside fastball for ball one. I know you were asked about it last summer, Justin. I have to ask again. Super Smash Brothers listed on your UCLA bio. I'm sure you've been asked about that a million times as the 1-0 from Collins misses low.
Yeah.
Do you wish you had listed that? Do people ask you about it too much because it's listed on that page?
No, I'm firm with that, and I'm keeping that there. Anybody's welcome. See me in the basement. See me in my basement. You can have it. I'll give you the work.
So you've got the GameCube up here.
Oh, it's a Nintendo 64.
Nintendo 64,
That's
old
right.
school.
That's right.
2-0 curveball outside corner. 2-1 now on Stovall.
I'm either watching Thrones or playing Super Smash, so let me know. Or kayaking.
Or kayaking.
I've yet to find a good ping pong table, though. I'm really waiting on that.
2-1 from Collins. Breaking ball outside corner. Now the count 2-2 on Stovall. Do you have a character you like to play with more than another? Anybody?
Anybody.
All right. Is there a character that you will not play with?
No.
You'll play with Jigglypuff.
Oh. He's amazing.
Okay.
Amazing.
2-2 from Collins.
Yes.
Swung through, strike three. Gonzalez applies the tag, and Stovall retired before he could get out of the box. Hyannis gets 3 home in their half of the fourth. And a big thank you to both of you guys. Thanks, Austin and Justin, for joining us, and
Yes, sir.
good luck the
Thank
rest
you.
of the season.
Thank you very much.
We'll head to the bottom half of the fourth now from Lowell Park. A 6-3 ball game as we'll be right back on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network. back in Cotuit as we head to the bottom half of the fourth. Hyannis with 3 runs in their half of the fourth. They're up 6-3 as Connor Green delivers a first pitch slider that misses inside for ball 1. And to Chandler Avant, it's 1-0.
You can't win for losing, huh, Will? Another 25-minute interview inning?
1-0. Avant sprays foul. Up the third base line, it's 1-1. I love a good interview, Matt, but at some point, the questions run a little bit dry. Big thank you to Justin and Austin for joining us for the duration of that top half of the fourth, though. Will Greer, Matt Rigby alongside you now as Justin and Austin have resumed duties selling raffle tickets down the third base line. 1-1 misses outside, so the count now 2-1 on Chandler. Avant 1 for 1 so far in this ball game. 2-1 misses low. Now the count 3-1. He had an RBI double back in the 3-run first for Cotuit. One of just 2 extra base hits in this ball game, despite the fact that there are 9 runs up on the scoreboard. 3-1 fastball gets the outer half. It's now 3-2. Understand that also a lot of housekeeping today, that we have our audio feed now a bit more fixed on the YouTube live stream, and I'm told that it's in sync with the video feed. 3-2 breaking ball, misses low and inside, ball 4. Nice at bat that time for Avant. It's the first walk allowed by the Hyannis starter Connor Green so far in this one. And there's a leadoff base runner for John Cresto.
With that first walk, Will, I've come to realize that this game is far from over. Even though it's already 6-3 Hyannis, when these two teams get together, there are a lot of base runners, a lot of length, a lot of pitches, and a lot of runs.
Cresto, the batter, looks at a first pitch fastball inside for ball 1. They're playing for the Barnstable Patriot Cup, Matt. That's what we come to expect. It's a 6-game series, obviously, with these two teams both being located in Barnstable Township. Green out of the stretch, taking his time. Now firing a 1-0 that misses low and outside. The count 2-0 on Cresto. So obviously if you win 4 out of the 6, you win the Barnstable Patriot Cup. We got into it a couple weeks ago as Ray Korn, the Hyannis pitching coach, slowly walks out to the mound to meet with Connor Green and Dom DiCaprio. The series was begun in 2002. The publisher of the Barnstable Patriot, a local newspaper at the time, thought the fact that 2 teams were both located in Barnstable, those of course being Cotuit and Hyannis, thought that that was noteworthy enough to create a little rivalry series. He funded a trophy, and now the teams every year since have played for the Barnstable Patriot Cup. Cotuit ahead 2-0 in the series right now as Korn slowly walks back toward the Hyannis dugout. And to your point, Matt, the first 2 final scores in the series so far this summer, 12-6 Kettleers back on June 29th, and 11-8 Cotuit back on July 2nd. Combined, as I quickly tally up, 37 combined runs, and in Game 3, we already have 9 combined runs in just the bottom half of the fourth. 2-0 misses low, and the count now 3 balls and no strikes on John Cresto. Cresto 0 for 1, a looking strikeout back in the first. 3-0 from Green, fastball misses low and away for ball 4. Wonder if Ray Korn is shaking his head. It looks like he is. He's pacing in the Hyannis dugout now, as exactly after he came out to talk to Connor Green. Green issues 2 straight balls, 2 straight walks to begin the fourth, and it looks like Connor Green's day is done. Green goes 3+ innings, allows 3 runs, but he's responsible for both Avant at second and Cresto at first. A 6-3 ball game. A new arm coming on for Hyannis, and we'll tell you how this bottom half of the fourth ends, as well as some information on the new arm after a quick break here on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network. Welcome back to Lowell Park as we play on here in the bottom half of the fourth. Will Greer and Matt Rigby alongside you on this Monday evening. And a 6-3 ball game, a fun one so far from Lowell Park. Hyannis leading Cotuit, but the Kettleers threatening in their half of the fourth with the tying run coming up to the plate in the form of Yvonne Gonzalez. Avant and Cresto both walked to begin this bottom half of the fourth. So Connor Green, the starter's day is done. He gives way to Nick Sandlin, the side-arming righty out of Southern Mississippi, the University of Southern Miss. Matt Rigby shares with me between the break that Mr. Sandlin has the same birthday as Matt Rigby's father, as Gonzalez awaits a first pitch that doesn't come because Sandlin spins back and stares Avant back to the second base bag. So far for Nick, a 1-1 record, a 2.20 ERA in 9 ball games, 20 strikeouts in just 16 1/3 innings pitched, and just 10 hits allowed. It's been one of the best bullpen arms for Chad Gassman out of the pen. And a pretty high leverage situation here, though we are just in the bottom half of the fourth. Gonzalez shows bunt, gets it down at the third base line, fielded by Coffey, who throws to Olenek at first for out number 1. But a highly successful sacrifice bunt for Yvonne Gonzalez, who placed that ball perfectly. Avant moves up to third, Cresto to second, and 2 in scoring position with 1 out for Blake Reese.
Hyannis also has another reliever with the same surname as my father and as myself, Will Greer, Mr. Ryan Rigby, who we saw a couple times last summer pitch for the Harbor Hawks. Hopefully Ryan gets into the game tonight so that him and I can have a cool little cosmic radio moment.
Reese from the left side looks at a first pitch sinker from Sandlin that misses low for ball 1. You had that cosmic moment last summer if memory serves.
Brother Ryan.
Yeah. Avant at third, Cresto at second. 6-3 ball game as Sandlin, the Southern Miss Golden Eagle, stares in, gets the sign, and fires a 1-0 that's cued back to the screen. Now 1-1 on Blake Reese. Blake is 0 for 1. He's now seen just 4 pitches in his young Cape League career. He popped up in foul territory back in the second. A guy that just finished up his sophomore season at Florida. Played in 40 games and hit .233 for the Gators. 1-1. Fastball misses up and away from Sandlin. It's 2-1. Blake is a shortstop out of high school, but Florida's infield is absolutely loaded. So he came to Florida and quickly realized that he would need to be able to play pretty much every position. That's why he's in center field tonight. 2-1. Good bender. A slider that time from Sandlin. Right over at the knees for strike 2. Blake played every position, in fact, in his sophomore season, but pitcher and catcher at Florida. A super utility player. Played last summer in the Northwoods League in beautiful Kenosha. 2-2. Slider misses just low. 74 miles an hour that time. That's a nasty pitch from Sandlin. And the count 3-2. Blake hit .259 for the Kingfish, so this whole playing everyday summer baseball thing, no stranger to Blake Reese. 1 out, 2 in scoring position. The 3-2 from Sandlin. Fastball cued to the right side. Olenek scoops up, throws to the plate. Tag applied. Not in time as Avant slides in. And now Dom DiCaprio can't believe the call. Chad Gassman sprints out of the Hyannis dugout. He is in the face of Troy Lair. And that looked like another really poor call from Mr. Lair. 2 in a row as Gassman is absolutely fuming. He's now talking to Stevie Williams, who's come in from first base. Gassman saying, no way, and I can hear that through my headset as Sandlin now has some words for him, and Gassman may get tossed from this baseball game, Matt.
Well, we've been up here 2 summers almost now. I've never seen a manager as heated as Chad Gassman is right now.
He sprinted out of the dugout, and he's not going anywhere anytime soon. Lair tried to wipe down the plate to get Gassman away like a gnat right now. Chad Gassman just in the face of Troy Lair.
In Chad Gassman's defense, that's 2 horrible calls at the plate. I'll call it how it is. 2 horrible calls at home plate from the umpire Troy Lair. 2 in successive half innings as well. I thought that Reed Leonard was out, although I had a little bit of a backseat view because of the interview that was taking place at the time. I definitely thought that the runner at the plate that just crossed Chandler Avant was out as well, and I thought this one was even more clear-cut. But Chad Gassman not rung up from this game. And I wonder if Troy Lair was using a makeup call there in any sense, Where I also wonder if Chad Gassman considered that maybe that's just retribution for what happened in the previous half inning. All things square now, I guess.
Conine now the batter, swings through a good first pitch sinker from Sandlin for strike one.
Will, I don't know what gets you tossed in the Cape League. I don't think
Yeah.
anything gets you tossed. I think you do whatever you want.
I think Chad Gassman wanted to be tossed very clearly that time.
Has he been? He's moving over to the right side of the dugout. No, he's just getting some water.
Yeah, he's
sticking
pacing
around.
now. He's cooling down. 0-1 fastball gets the outer half. There's another makeup call from Troy Lair. That pitch nowhere close, but called a strike as Griffin puts his right fist to his bat 3 consecutive times in frustration. This an absolutely bizarre baseball game so far, Matt. We're only in the bottom half of the fourth. Men on the corners, a 6-4 score as the 0-2 fastball in the exact same spot from Sandlin, but this time called a ball by Troy Lair. It's 1-2.
You think Blake Reese will ever forget his first Cape Cod League RBI?
I would say probably not. Blake probably wasn't watching the play, though. He was hustling down to first base.
He watched the fireworks after.
He sure did. Has a good lead at first now as the 1-2 sails inside, almost clips Griffin Conine. A ton of break to that slider from Sandlin, and the count even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Griffin 1 for 2, a single and a run so far. Now has a 7-game hitting streak, trying to bring home Cresto from third, maybe Blake Reese from first. 2-2, fastball misses just outside. Nice AB worked from Griffin after he fell behind 0-2, as the count now full.
Where would you go if you got tossed as a manager in a Cape League game? There's no clubhouse. Would you just go sit in the car?
Maybe call an Uber. If Chad Gassman came on the bus, he's out of luck. Pitcher Sandlin throws over.
You and I have done quite a bit of college baseball. Have you ever called a game where a manager gets tossed at the college level?
I have not yet.
I did one this year. John Sheff, the Maryland manager, got tossed, and he just took a walk out the left field fence and stayed there.
3-2, Reese runs. Conine sprays it to straightaway left center. Mangum ranges over and gloves. Tagging from third is Cresto, and the throw comes into second base as John Cresto scores from third. A sacrifice fly RBI for Griffin Conine there, and the score now 6-5 here in the bottom half of the fourth. Nice piece of hitting that time for Griffin. He knew exactly what he needed to do, and he did that. Reese, who was running on the play, back at first, and Ginesta now the batter. What were the situation, what were the circumstances to toss John Sheff from that baseball game?
Balls and strikes, I think, if memory serves. The thing I remember most is that I didn't have a mic cut off in between half innings.
Ginesta looks at a first pitch fastball outside for ball one.
I'm sorry, not in between half innings. When Sheff got tossed, I still had a hot mic, and I talked about how John Sheff was taking too long to get out of the stadium, and I had to apologize to him, blah, blah, blah. That's the only thing I remember about the whole scene, the whole situation.
Ginesta ahead 1-0 as Sandlin fires. Reese runs. Pitch misses outside. Throw down from DiCaprio. Not in time. The tag never applied from Proctor as Ford Proctor cut off that one hopper that time from Dom DiCaprio. So it's a successful stolen base for Reese, and he's in scoring position. A 2-0 count on Ginesta. Blake Reese 4 for 4 on the base paths in his sophomore season in Gainesville, Florida. He was 14 for 17 last summer with the Kingfish. Certainly has a lot of speed. You got to have speed to play center field. 2 out, 6-5 ball game. The 2-0 from Sandlin popped up left side. Coffee ranges over. He has room, and he gloves in foul territory for out number 3. But the Kettleers get 2 runs on no hits. Couple really, really wacky plays in that fourth inning. And the fourth finally comes to an end after about 45 minutes. With that, we'll head to the fifth. It's a 6-5 score now. Cotuit trailing by just a run on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network. To the 5th we move from beautiful, pristine, picturesque Lowell Park on this Monday evening, game number 24 of the summer. It's a 6-5 score. Hyannis leading Cotuit, and after 73 pitches, Zane Collins gives the ball to Mitch Stallings back on the Lowell Park mound mat.
Yeah, back on the Lowell Park mound, Will, for the first time in 2 summers. Mitch Stallings was a Cotuit Kettleer in 2015. Stallings pitched in 11 games in 2015, all out of the bullpen, finished with a 1-2 record, a 3.79 ERA in 19 innings logged, 21 hits, 8 runs, they were all earned, 12 strikeouts, and 4 walks. He was the Friday night guy for the Duke Blue Devils this collegiate season. He's now the 3rd Blue Devil to wear the Kettleer pinstripes here this summer. And before this season, Mitch Stallings was the primary closer for the Blue Devils, so definitely a bit of a swing man. We talked to Jonathan King, the Kettleer pitching coach, before tonight's game. He said Stallings is the epitome of a crafty lefty. 85 to 90, he'll sit with his fastball. And he'll pitch to contact to get outs. First pitch of the top of the 5th misses downstairs to the batter, Micah Coffey. And it's 1-0, 89 on that fastball from Mitch Stallings. Stallings made 13 starts this year for Duke. 1-0 pitch, fastball for a strike on the outer black. Pitched to a 4-3 record, a 4.50 ERA. 76 innings logged, 74 hits, so about a hit per inning, 74 strikeouts as well. 1-1, misses low and outside for ball 2. Pretty good control, only 26 walks in 76 innings. That's about 3 per 9. He has a 2.85 strikeout to walk this season. The 2-1, good breaking ball, catches the knees and right over the zone to run the count to Coffey to 2-2. Final line on Zane Collins, as Will mentioned, 73 pitches, 3 innings, 7 hits, 6 runs, 4 of them earned. 2 strikeouts and 1 walk. Here's the 2-2 to Coffey. Breaking ball misses downstairs and away. Appeal down to 3rd, and Ed McAvin says that Coffey didn't go. So the count runs full. Stark contrast for Zane from last Monday in Wareham when he tossed the complete game shutout. He'll probably wake up tomorrow no longer the leader in ERA. He might not even qualify after going only 3 innings tonight. 3-2 pitch, swung on and lifted towards the left field side with a dive. It's Kinnaman, and he cannot make the play. It gets under his glove and trickles up the line. Coffey goes to second, takes a wide turn there, and then puts the brakes on, content to cruise in with a leadoff stand-up double. So Stallings came inside in a lefty-lefty matchup. He jammed Micah Coffey, but Coffey with an inside-out swing deposits a tailing away and sinking line drive down the left field line to give the Harbor Hawks another leadoff base runner. 3rd time tonight that Hyannis has put the leadoff man on. They scored in one of the previous 2. And now the batter, Ryan Olenek. He squares to bunt, gets it down right in front of home plate. Stallings off the mound, scoops it up, fires to first. Alexander covering. Receives the throw just in time to get Olenek. Olenek skipping up the up the right field line. He thought he was safe. But Stevie Williams, the first base umpire, says no way. It's a successful sacrifice for Olenek nonetheless, as it goes down 1-4, and Coffey moves up to 3rd with 1 out for Robert Newstrom. Been a pretty wild game so far here tonight from Lowell Park. Kettleer infield comes in now. First pitch to the lefty Newstrom. Breaking ball that skips in. Nice block by Ivan Gonzalez, who's done a good job blocking breaking balls in the dirt all night long so far. And the count goes to 1-0. I think the zaniness of that game, not to issue a pun with Mr. Collins on the mound. First the 1-0 to Newstrom. Here it comes, and it's a fastball rocketed underneath the glove of Tolia and into right field for an RBI base hit. Robert Newstrom picks up his 2nd run-scoring hit of the night. It's now 7-5 Hyannis as Coffey comes in to score, and Newstrom pulls in at first. Anyway, that play at first base where Olenek was very close to beating out what was merely a sacrifice bunt and what was merely an out that he was attempting to give up really typifies the way this game has gone so far. Stevie Williams had to make a judgment call at first, and in one way or another, somebody was going to be unhappy. This time it was Olenek. And we've seen very Many unhappy customers so far already in just 4 innings plus of baseball tonight. And unhappy customers on each side, unhappy with the quality of play and unhappy with the quality of umpiring. First pitch to the batter, Ford Proctor, now is a big swing and a miss. And it's 0-1.
That can snowball in a hurry, Matt. We have seen enough sports to know that. Once you lose your credibility as an umpire and official, then teams really start to doubt every single borderline call.
Newstrom with a long lead at first, sticking his left hand out. The 0-1 pitch he's not running, and it misses down and away for ball 1.
Start feeling entitled to make-up calls as well. I mean, it can get out of control in a hurry, and hopefully for this umpiring crew, we don't have any more borderline plays the rest of the ball game, because one side is going to be very upset if they don't get the benefit of the doubt.
Another large lead for Newstrom. He's not going again. The 1-1, big swing and a miss from Proctor. 79 miles an hour on that breaking ball from Stallings, and it's 1-2. So it takes just 3 batters for Mitch Stallings to pick up an earned run in 2017. Trying to get out of this inning without any further damage. The kick and the 1-2 to Proctor. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Good down and in fastball there from Stallings as he gets Proctor fishing for out number 2. So that'll bring up Dom DiCaprio. DiCaprio so far tonight, 0 for 1, reached via an error in the second, then walked and scored in the 3-run Hyannis fourth. 3 runs in the second for the Harbor Hawks, 3 in the fourth, as I just mentioned, and 1 so far in the fifth. 7 runs on 9 hits. For Cotuit, 3 in the first and 2 in the fourth. 5 runs on 6 hits. Stallings comes set. The kick in the first pitch to DiCaprio. It's a number foul up the first base line. And it's 0-1. Newstrom still taking a really large lead at first base. He's a guy who has not stolen a base all summer long. And he's taking that lead against a lefty. And lefties typically have a better pickoff move towards the first base bag. Now that lead shortens up a bit for Newstrom. Stallings still checking on him. Here's the throw over, and he's got Newstrom picked off. Tolia down to Avon. Avon applies the tag for out number 3. Right on cue, it goes 1-3 to 6. Robert Newstrom picked off to end the inning. Hyannis gets a run on the strength of 2 hits, no errors, and nobody left on. We'll move to the home half of the 5th, 7-5 Hyannis on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network. Halfway home from Lowell Park, and it's been a barn burner so far. 7-5, Hyannis leads the Kettleers as we move to the bottom of the 5th. New pitcher on for Hyannis, James Harrington. the right-hander out of the University of New Mexico. Go Bows. As Brett Kinnaman stands in. And the first pitch to Kinnaman, rifled to straightaway center. Backing up now Hampton. He does not make the catch as it bounces off of his glove and goes up towards the warning track. Kinnaman with a wide turnaround first. He'll cruise into second and downshift there with a leadoff double. We've seen Reese Hampton get burned by playing a shallow center a couple different times tonight now. He did make the right read on that ball, but couldn't quite get on his horse quick enough. As he sees it pop out of the heel of his glove, Kinnaman now 2 for 3 as he picks up his 4th double of the summer, and the Kettleers have the tying run in the batter's box in the form of Michael Tolia. Harrington, a second-year Harbor Hawk. He was very, very good last summer, was James. 14 games, all in relief. 2-0 record, 1.86 ERA, with 1 save, 19 strikeouts, and 5 walks. The kick and the pitch to Tolia. Breaking ball for a strike inside corner at the knees, and it's 0-1. This is the first appearance this summer for Harrington. It's not like the Lobos made any run in the NCAA tournament, so not quite sure why it took James so long to get here. The 0-1 pitch. Tolia swings and lines it foul up the first baseline. It's 0-2. Harrington from Gilbert, Arizona, suburb of Phoenix, as is almost every city in the state of Arizona, it seems. 6 foot 185 pounds, just finished up his sophomore season for New Mexico. Checks on Kinnaman. Now the kick in the 0-2. Tolia lays off. It's a breaking ball that misses in the dirt for ball 1. This season for New Mexico, Harrington made 14 appearances, 5 starts, a 1-3 record, and an ugly 7.18 ERA. The kick in the 1-2 to Tolia, swings and lifts it towards the left side, giving chase the left fielder Mangum. Will it stay in play? It will not. It lands foul by a couple feet for a loud and dangerous, if you're the Harbor Hawks, strike number 2. The ball was closer to staying fair than I thought it was off the bat. Michael Tolia looked fooled as he had a late swing on that breaking ball from Harrington. But he almost plopped it down exactly where he needed to. And it would have scored Kinnaman. Instead, it's another 1-2. The kick in, here it comes, misses downstairs. Another breaking ball at 80 miles an hour as the count draws square. Tolia so far tonight, 1 for 2. Singled his last time up. That was in the 3rd. Struck out swinging in the 1st. Here's the kick in the 2-2. Tolia swings. Again, a late swing. And again, he sprays it foul towards the left side. We'll do it once more. With that single back in the 3rd, Michael now has a modest 5-game hitting streak. And he's now 6 for his last 12. Things starting to point upwards for Tolia at the plate after a rough start to this summer. Part of the reason they're pointing upwards, part of the reason he's in this hit streak, he's going the other way a lot. Here's the kick in the 2-2. Tolia watches a breaking ball miss low in the dirt for ball 3. 58 feet on that breaking ball or so. Good block by DiCaprio. And now with first base open, Harrington has worked the count full to Tolia. Tolia digs in. Harrington with the sign, the kick and the payoff pitch misses low for ball 4. And the Kettleers have put the first 2 men on, down by 2 here in the bottom of the 5th for their hottest men, Luke Alexander, coming to the plate.
You wonder if there are some nerves right now for Harrington out on the mound. He's a second-year Cape Leaguer, but the first appearance always the toughest. And he's in quite a hole now, as you just mentioned, Matt, with the red-hot Luke Alexander coming up.
That was an 8-pitch at-bat to draw that walk by Michael Tolia. 8-pitch plate appearance, I should say. That was after Brett Kinnaman swung at the first pitch he saw from Harrington and lifted the double to straightaway center. Now the first pitch to Alexander. He squares to bunt, pulls the bat back, and the pitch misses outside for ball 1. One of the fascinating things about this now 10-game hitting streak for Luke Alexander, Will, is that he's seemingly been asked to lay down a sacrifice almost every single night. As Ray Korn pops out of the dugout to go have a chat with his big righty James Harrington. Anyway, it hasn't been just 1 for 4, 1 for 5 on a nightly basis for Luke Alexander. Many times it's been 1 for 2 or 1 for 3. And I think Mike Roberts continues to turn to Luke Alexander for situations just like this one to lay down successful sacrifices, because as we've mentioned throughout the season so far, well, I think Alexander handles the bat perhaps better than anyone in the entire Kettleer lineup. Long trip to the mound here for Ray Korn. Now he shakes the tree and all the branches go back to place as he takes the trot back to the Hyannis dugout. Christian Demby warming in the Cotuit bullpen. Got to figure he'll be on in the top of the 6th when that inning arrives. For now, though, the Kettleers have the tying runs on base in the bottom of the 5th. 2-run game with nobody out. The 1-0 pitch to Alexander. He squares to bunt and pops it back behind the screen over our heads and out of play for strike 1. Infield in at first base and third. Olenek and Coffey, respectively, prepared to charge on this likely attempted bunt from Alexander. The kick in the 1-1. He squares, pulls the bat back again, and the pitch misses down and away for ball 2. Luke Alexander has now successfully laid down 7 sacrifice bunts so far this year for the Kettleers. You'd have to confirm this for me, Will. I believe that's the most of any Kettleer on the roster so far. It is indeed, as Alexander again pulls the bat back, and again the pitch misses up and away for ball 3. James Harrington cannot find the strike zone right now. Will just handed me a note saying that Zach Cohn has the next most successful sacrifice bunts of any Kettleer with just 3. So Luke Alexander, at least if the stats tell the story, far and away the most proficient bunter for Mike Roberts. See if he's swinging away 3-1, though. He squares to bunt and kicks it foul back behind the plate to run the count full. Might have bunted at ball 4 there, as that pitch looked like it was a little bit up. Surprised after 3 straight balls, Will, that Mike Roberts didn't take the bunt off there and just force Harrington to throw a strike. Now in a 2-strike count, it'll probably be off. See if the runners go. First baseman still creeping in. Runners don't go. No bunt, and the pitch misses up and in for ball 4. So Luke Alexander was pretty much handing James Harrington an out. But James Harrington looks like he has no command over any of his pitches right now. It's the 2nd straight walk. This one a 6-pitch walk drawn by Alexander. And over the course of these last 2 walks, there have been 14 pitches, 8 of which, obviously, have missed the strike zone. Chad Gassman pops out of the dugout. James Harrington's night's going to come to an end before he even records an out. Kettleers have loaded the bases with nobody out, down by just 2 in the bottom of the 5th. We'll give you the details on the new pitcher for the Harbor Hawks when we come back. See if the Kettleers can tie it or push in front on the other side of this break on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network. Matt Rigby and Will Greer back from Lowell Park. New pitcher on the mound for Hyannis is the big righty out of Indiana State, Ethan Larison. Larison making his 11th appearance of the year. That's right, his 11th appearance of the year for Hyannis. That should further illustrate just how bad things have gotten on some nights for the Hyannis pitching staff. So far this season, Larison with an 0-1 record, a 4.41 ERA in 16 1/3 innings, all out of the bullpen. He's given up 17 hits in those 16 1/3, 9 runs, 8 of them earned, 11 strikeouts, and 5 walks. He enters into a king-size jam here in the bottom of the 5th that was handed to him rather rudely by his teammate James Harrington. Harrington, in his first appearance of the summer for Hyannis, faces 3 batters, does not record an out, walks a pair, and gives up a double. The Kettleers have the bases loaded, nobody out, and Chandler Avant, the batter, down by 2. The first pitch to Avant is a breaking ball that misses low and outside for ball 1. Avant entered last night's game just 3 for his last 22, but he's started to work his way out of that slump. He's now reached base in 4 of his last 5 trips to the plate, 1 for 1 with a double and a walk so far tonight. The kick in the 1-0, Avant watches it miss upstairs at 93 miles an hour for ball 2. Through this game's first 3 innings, Hyannis pitching hadn't walked a batter. But you knew it was only a matter of time, I suppose, if you had looked at the stats before tonight's game. As over the course of the last inning plus, they've now walked 4 Kettleers. The kick in the 2-0 to Avant misses upstairs for ball 3. No place to put Chandler Avant here. And if you're Ray Korn, you got to be pulling the hair out in the dugout, or pulling your hair out in the dugout, because the Hyannis staff just cannot throw a strike. "11 of the last 17 pitches from Hyannis have now missed the strike zone." Larison in danger of walking in a run. Avant should get something good to hit. The kick in the 3-0, Avant takes all the way, breaking ball for a strike. And it's 3-1. The only other time we saw a Kettleer through the first 42 3-0 counts this summer swing away was when Michael Tolia had the bases loaded a few nights ago in Falmouth. Thought I might see Avant do it there, but he spits on a breaking ball instead. We'll see what he's doing. 3-1. The kick and the pitch. Avant watches it miss inside. Ball 4, and a run comes in to score. The 3rd straight walk surrendered by Hyannis pitching. Chandler Avant gets his 2nd run driven into the game. He doesn't even have to swing the bat this time. Kinnaman to home. Tolia to 3rd. Alexander to 2nd. And the line keeps moving for the Kettleers with a pinch hitter coming up in the form of Terran Vavra. So John Cresto's night comes to an end, and Terran Vavra will get his first at-bat since before Griffin Conine came back from Omaha. It'll be Vavra's first at-bat since July the 1st in a 6-3 loss at Falmouth at Arnie Allen Diamond. There's the kick and the pitch to Vavra. Fastball catches the belt for a strike, 0-1.
Cresto's shown a better eye the last week or so, Matt, but Vavra, a guy who will absolutely make Larison come with a strike here. Maybe that's the thinking for Mike Roberts.
Cresto has already walked once in this game. He walked and scored back in the 4th. The 0-1, Vavra watches it catch the knees at the zone for a strike. 93-mile-an-hour fastball there from Larison. Good job keeping it low, as he would love a double play ball here. With still nobody out and the bases still loaded, 1 already home in the bottom of the 5th. Meanwhile, Terran Vavra needs a good piece of 2-strike hitting now. Awaits the pitch. Here it comes. And he checks his swing. Pitch misses low. No appeal down by home plate umpire Troy Lair. And the count goes to 1-2. Vavra just 3 for his first 18 as a Kettleer this summer. No extra base hits, no homers, 1 driven in. The kick in the 1-2 to Vavra. That's a breaking ball that misses upstairs for ball 2. Haven't seen a Kettleer swing the bat in it seems like 5 or 6 minutes now. Yet Cotuit's already manufactured a run here in the bottom of the 5th on the strength of a double and 3 walks. Vavra hasn't swung the bat yet in this AB. Here comes pitch number 5 in a 2-2 count. And Vavra watches it miss up and away for ball 3.
Nobody warming in the Hyannis bullpen if Larison walks home another run. I would imagine that will change quite quickly for Chad Gassman. It's a taxed bullpen, though, Matt. You alluded to it. It's the 11th appearance already for Larison in just game number 24.
Olenek playing in front of the runner at first. Everybody else straight up along the infield. Here's the kick and the payoff pitch to Vavra. He swings, lifts it to shallow left center. That'll hang up, though, for Hampton. Should be deep enough to score the run. Tolia tags. The throw comes in from Hampton. It's cut off by Olenek, and the game is tied at 7 on an RBI sac fly from Taran Vavra. It's the first out of the inning. Meanwhile, Alexander stays put at second. Avant stays put at first. And now there's one away for Ivan Gonzalez. Second RBI of the summer now for Taran Vavra. He gets the job done for Mike Roberts. Now we'll see what Gonzalez can do. First pitch to Gonzalez. Fastball that misses inside. Crowds him off the plate, and it's 1-0. Ivan tonight so far 0 for 1. Laid down a successful sacrifice back in the 4th. And struck out swinging in the 1st. 5 Kettleers have gone down by way of strikeout tonight. Here's the kick in the 0-1 to Gonzalez. 1-0 rather, and the pitch misses low for ball 2. 90 miles an hour on that fastball there from Larison. He continues to struggle with his control. And now before this 2-0, Dom DiCaprio takes a jog out to the mound for a chat with his pitcher. Approaching the 7 o'clock hour here at Lowell Park. That means this game's about to be 2 hours old. And yet we're still only in the bottom of the 5th inning. 14 combined runs, 16 combined hits. And when the top of the 6th rolls around and the Cotuit Kettleers use a new pitcher, I'd imagine we'll have our 7th combined arm. Conference over. Now the 2-0 to Gonzalez. Taking all the way, and it's a fastball for a strike at the belt. It's 2-1. Gonzalez with a slightly open stance. Wiggles the bat. Now Larison comes set, the 2-1, rocketed right towards the shortstop, picking it out of the air. Proctor, he throws to second, trying to double off Alexander. But Ed McAvin says Alexander got back in just in front of the throw. And he avoids, does Alexander, being the culprit of the 3rd out of the inning. As the Kettleers avoid what would have been a tough luck line-out double play to end the threat. L6 for Gonzalez. There's still 2 away now with 2 on for Thomas Dillard, who's pinch hitting for Blake Reese. Larison comes set, the first pitch to Dillard, fastball on the outer black. It's 0-1. So I'd have to figure, Will, that in the top of the 6th with Blake Reese now out of the game, Miles Lewis would come in and play center, and Vavra would stay in and play 3rd for John Cresto. The 0-1, Dillard watches another fastball, catch the belt on the outside corner, and it's quickly 0-2.
Only other solution would probably be to forfeit the DH, but I don't think you do that and put Ginsta out in center.
No.
Probably not a wise move just in the bottom half of the 5th.
Not in a 7-7 game either. Because you've already burned through 2 men on your bench. You wouldn't have a lot of pinch hitters left. Kicking the 0-2 to Dillard. Another fastball misses just outside for ball 1. We haven't seen Thomas Dillard take an at-bat since July the 7th, 3 games ago in the Kettleers' 5-3 victory over Falmouth. He started that night and went 1 for 3 with a walk. Got a chance to cash in a run here. The 1-2, though, grounded towards second. Easy second out for Stovall. He picks it up and fires across the diamond in time to retire the side. The Kettleers do score 2 to tie it up, however. They do so on the strength of just 1 hit, a leadoff double for Brett Kinnaman. There were 3 walks in the inning. There were no errors, and there were 2 runners left on base. After 5, we're right where we were at when we started. The only difference, we're 14 runs into this game. It's 7-7 as we move to the 6th. on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network. Speculation's the root of all evil, Will, and I am pretty evil, I suppose, for speculating that Mitch Stallings' day would be done after that long bottom half of the sixth at the plate for the Kettleers, in which they score 2 runs to tie it at 7. Stallings is back onto the mound for the top of the sixth, and he will work in a brand new ball game with the score 7-7.
For what it's worth, Matt, I don't think you're evil at all as DiCaprio steps in and looks at a first pitch bender from Mitch Stallings that never bent and misses outside for ball 1. 14 combined runs, 16 combined hits, 2 combined errors, and as Matt illustrated in the last half inning, we're right where we are when we began about 2 hours ago. 1-0 gets the outer half, 85 miles an hour that time from Mitch, so the count 1-1. DiCaprio 0 for 1 with an RBI and a walk. The Rice Owl steps into the right side and looks at a 1-1 changeup that misses just outside the count, now 2-1. Shade engulfing the majority of the infield at the 6:54 hour on the East Coast. Some sunshine as the 2-1. Fastball tails outside. Now the count 3 balls, 1 strike on DiCaprio. Sunshine on the back portion of the infield from left to right. Really just on the infield dirt. The entire grass cutout is pretty much all shaded at this point. 3-1. Fastball misses up and away for ball 4. Stallings doesn't look too pleased with himself as he's taking a walk back behind the mound. It's a leadoff walk issued to DiCaprio. He's at first with nobody out for Reed Leonard.
Might as well start talking about the combined walk totals as well, Will. It looked like we were going to escape that storyline tonight through the game's first 3 innings, but the bases on balls have started to pile up over the course of the last 2 innings, or inning and a half, with some change left over. For Hyannis, 5 walks now for their staff through 5 innings, and that walk of DiCaprio was the second, if my math is correct, issued by a Kettleer pitcher. Not quite the 14 or 13, whatever it was we saw a couple weeks ago between these 2 teams in Hyannis, but still, we're getting there.
We sure are, and a new arm on for Cotuit. Mitch Stallings' day is done after 1+ inning. He gives up a run, strikes out 1, as Stallings walks back to the Cotuit dugout up the third baseline. The new arm is Christian Dimby. As Will Paul's here on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network. A man on, nobody out. Reed Leonard coming up in a 7-7 ball game here in the top half of the 6th, as we'll be right back. Welcome back to Cotuit. Will Greer, Matt Rigby alongside you. A 7-7 tie as we are just about ready to resume play here in the top half of the 6th. And Christian Denby quite quickly warmed up. He'll face 9-1, then 2 in the Hyannis starting 9. And I was just thinking, Matt, it feels like we haven't seen Christian in quite a while. That's because we haven't. He last pitched back on July 1st at Falmouth's Gov Fuller Field. He went 1 2/3 that night, gave up a run on 2 hits, and struck out 1. That run, the first given up by Christian all season, though. He has a really good 1.17 ERA in 6 appearances out of the bullpen coming in. He faces Reed Leonard now, who shows bunt, pulls it back, and looks at an outer half fastball for strike 1.
That would have been the Alec Boehm home run, right?
Exactly. You're spot on. That put Falmouth ahead 6-3 that night. It was a 3-run home run, but Christian Denby only responsible for one of the runs. 0-1 count. DiCaprio at first as Denby bluffs a throw back.
Nice to see Christian get a full count this time, huh?
Leonard shows bunt again, pulls it back again, and looks at an 0-1 fastball low. It's 1-1. And no pitcher likes to come in the middle of an at-bat. Christian, no different.
I guess full count is not the best term to use there. Clean count.
Sure.
How about that?
Leonard 1 for 1, a sacrifice bunt as well as a single. He shows bunt once again. Again pulls it back, and this time looks at a 1-1 breaking ball that misses low for ball 2. Alexander on the infield grass. He's charging every time Christian Denby pitches the ball to the plate. Tolia holding on the base runner DiCaprio at first. Leonard again showing bunt, the 2-1. He gets it down, back to Christian Denby, who fields and goes to the second baseman Vavra at first for out number 1. The second successful sacrifice bunt, say that 10 times fast, for Reed Leonard. And there's one gone. DiCaprio moves up to second for Jake Mangum. Should mention these defensive changes for Cotuit. Luke Alexander moving over to third in between innings. Chandler Avant staying at shortstop. And Vavra taking over for Alexander, who moves over to third, taking the place of John Cresto. Also of note, Thomas Dillard, who pinch hit for Blake Reese, not in center field. As expected, Miles Lewis taking over for Reese in center. So 2 new defenders into the game for Cotuit. Alexander moving over to third, Avant staying put at shortstop. Now the batter, Jake Mangum, the leadoff man, batting from the left side against the righty Denby. As Mangum swings, sends it to Avant at short. His play will be to first, and he makes that play successfully, retiring the speedy Mangum for out number 2. Meanwhile, Dom DiCaprio moves up to third, and he's just 90 feet away now from scoring the go-ahead run. 2 outs, though, in the 6th for Reese Hampton, the 2-hitter. Catching up on my scorebook now, Matt. It's been that kind of day. A lot of fast action, a lot of balls being put into play. And it's been a fun baseball game. We're now officially 2 hours old as we play on here in the top of the 6th. Hampton from the left side swings away, rifles one to straightaway right center. Conine ranges over, though, glides and makes the play. A fine defensive play from Griffin Conine, who saves a run with that catch. And we'll head to the bottom half of the 6th now from Lowell Park. We're still tied at 7 on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network. Top of the order, due up for Cotuit as we welcome you back to Lowell Park. Bottom half of the 6th upcoming. Hyannis and Cotuit tied at 7 in game number 3 of the Barnstable Patriot Cup Series here in the 2017 summer. Will Greer and Matt Rigby alongside you. Conine, Ginesta, and Kinnaman, a trio of lefties due up against the heavy-worked righty out of Indiana State, Ethan Larison, out for inning number 2, making his 11th appearance of the summer. In contrast, no Kettleer has more than 7 appearances. So Larison has been worked quite a bit for Chad Gassman, and he's on for inning number 2 as Cotuit looks to pull ahead in this ball game for the second time so far. Conine looks at a first pitch changeup that misses low for ball 1. If you're just joining us tonight, Cotuit had a 3-0 lead early after 1 inning. Then Hyannis scored 3 in their half of the second. That made it 3-3. Harbor Hawks then went up 6-3 with a 3-run fourth. 1-0 from Larison. Fastball cued foul back behind the Cotuit dugout. Cotuit made that a 6-5 ball game with 2 runs in their half of the 4th. Then Hyannis added 1 in the 5th to go up 7-5, and Cotuit fighting back with 2 in their half of the 5th. And just like that, a lot of runs, a lot of base hits, and a lot of sloppy defense later. We're tied at 7 here in the 6th. Larison out of the stretch, fires a 1-1 breaking ball that was hung that time, but Conine out in front, chops it foul up the first base line. Griffin 1 for 3, a single and a run back in the 1st. And a sacrifice fly to the left fielder Mangum back in the 2-run 4th for Cotuit. He's homered in 3 straight ball games. He's reached safely via a base hit in 7 straight ball games as he calls time before the 1-2. There's a guy that scouts certainly have their eyes on with a top 10 average, home run total, and RBI total through 23 ball games. 1-2, fastball misses low, skips into the mitt of Dom DiCaprio. It's 2-2. Griffin with the number 9 average coming in, the 2nd most home runs, and the 3rd most runs batted in. He's a great defender in right field. We saw on that last play to end the top of the 6th. He's got good speed as well. Checks off all the boxes that a scout could possibly have. 2-2, fastball, maybe a curveball actually that time. Misses just inside, so the count now full into Conine. Kettleers have had the leadoff man on in 3 out of the prior 5 innings. Conine trying to make that 4 out of 6. As Larison comes set, gets the sign, and deals a 3-2. That swung through, strike 3. Just 73 miles an hour that time as Griffin sprints back toward the Cotuit dugout. Tough pitch from Larison, and there's 1 away here in the 6th for Grayson Ginesta. Haven't seen Griffin react like that at all so far this summer, Matt. He was clearly fooled by the pitch, but then put his head down and just ran as fast as he could back toward the dugout.
Quick cleanse, I guess, huh?
Sure. Ginesta 1 for 3. He also singled back in the 1st. Also a lefty stepping in, swinging at a first pitch fastball and sending that pitch through the hole into center field for a 1-out single. So Ginesta now 2 for 4. Cued that ball right by the second baseman Stovall, who dove but could not come up with it. And there's a 1-out base runner for Brett Kinnaman here in the 6th. I want to remind you at home quickly here that Cape Cod Baseball is brought to you by Chatham Bars Inn. I want to remind you that the Sacred Cod Tavern at Chatham Bars Inn Resort and Spa is a quintessential New England dining experience for lunch or dinner. A proud member of leading hotels of the world. Kinnaman steps into the left side now. Open stance. He looks at a first pitch fastball that misses low for ball 1. Phenomenal night for baseball here at Lowell Park. Really good crowd on hand, and they've been treated to a really good baseball game thus far. 74 degrees now the temperature, as the infield almost entirely shaded. 1-0 high chopper right side. Fair ball. Olenek Fields throws to second for 1. Scooped out nicely by the shortstop Proctor. Good heads-up play that time from the first baseman Olenek, as Kinnaman arguing with Steve Williams that was a foul ball. But Brett's at first, not too pleased with himself. 2 outs now. and Michael Tolia the batter.
I was really surprised to see Olenek not let that ball push foul. Even if it wasn't foul, as Brett Kinnaman was contending, it would have eventually gone foul, I'm almost certain. And you said it was a nice heads-up play by Olenek. I think he almost stumbled into that play because he fielded it and then realized he needed to do something. And he made a nice spin and a throw to cut down the lead runner, making it look more graceful than perhaps he planned it to be.
Tolia now from the left side as Larson delivers a first pitch fastball cued to Olenek, who's up with it this time. Thought about going to second. Don't think he knew there were 2 outs. He steps on the bag for out number 3. Olenek, a guy that Ole Miss describes as a guy who plays with his hair on fire. Certainly not aware of the situation that time, but he makes the play to retire the side here in the 6th. We'll head to the 7th now. Kettleers get a base runner they cannot score in their half of the 6th against Larson. It's a 7-7 tie as we move to the 7th on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network. To the 7th we move from Lowell Park, all tied at 7. A theme starting to create itself here at Lowell Park. It's Stovall, Coffey, and Olenek due up against Christian Dimby, who had to throw just 7 pitches in the last half inning to retire 3 Harbor Hawks. As Dimby, the big righty out of NC State, onto the first base side of the rubber and firing a first pitch breaking ball that never quite got to the plate for ball 1. Against Stovall, Coffey, and Olenek, the scheduled 3 batters. A righty, a lefty, and then another righty. 1-0 from Dimby. Fastball at the knees for strike 1. 7 runs, 9 hits, no errors for Hyannis. 7 runs, 8 hits, 2 errors for Cotuit. It's been a back-and-forth ball game. Cotuit playing catch-up for the majority. 1-1. Bender right over the heart of the zone for strike 2. Stovall 0 for 3 so far in this one with a pair of strikeouts. Both of those coming against the lefty Collins, who started this baseball game way back when. 1-2 grounded to Vavra at second, who scoops and fires to Tolia for out number 1. So 4 up, 4 down for Christian Dimby, and the cleanup man Micah Coffey now comes up. We haven't really had time to check the out-of-town scoreboard so far tonight, so we'll get to that in a moment. I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a ball game more bizarre and more entertaining than this one we've seen at Lowell Park tonight. Coffey looks at a first pitch fastball low and away. Micah 2 for 3 so far in this one, a single as well as a double. Dimby working quite quickly, fires a 1-0 fastball outer half. It's 1-1. Brewster and YD in a 4-0 ball game. YD with the advantage, top 8 at Red Wilson Field. Brewster in jeopardy of losing their 4-game winning streak. 1-1 from Dimby. Fastball misses low at 92 miles an hour. Falmouth up 4-0 over Bourne. Bottom 3 at Arnie Allen Diamond tonight. Commodores have lost 4 out of their last 5, and the only non-loss in that time span was a tie the other night. 2-1, lined right to Tolia, who gloves on a knee for out number 2. A soft liner that time for Micah Coffey. Tolia down to a knee quickly, then had a second and a half to regain himself before gloving for out number 2. So Olenek comes up with nobody on and 2 outs.
Pair of potential playoff previews in those 2 games that you just gave scores of, Will. YD and Brewster deadlocked for second place in the Cape League's Eastern Division, and Orleans is going to look tough to catch the remainder of the way.
First pitch swinging is Olenek. He misses for strike one.
Obviously, the West Division's a little bit more condensed, but if the playoffs began tonight, which I know is a bit of a stretch because we've got a lot of baseball left, Bourne and Falmouth would be the matchup.
0-1 breaking ball this time misses way outside. Gonzalez has to slide to his right that time to glove. 1-1. Orleans is up 2-0 over Harwich. Surprise, surprise. Bottom two at White House Field. 1-1 from Demby. Breaking ball again misses outside. This time not as badly as the last one. It's 2-1.
Daniel Lynch looking for win number 4, I believe, tonight for the Firebirds.
Good news that Cotuit won't have to face him on Friday evening when Orleans rolls into Lowell Park. 2-1, cued to the backstop. Olenek laid on a good fastball from Demby, and now the count even. And Wareham up 1-0 over Chatham, top 3 at Spillane Field. We want to also say that our thoughts go out to the folks in Wareham. We understand that there was a scary shooter threat this morning at Wareham High School, the first day of summer school classes, and a threat got out. 2-2 from Demby. Breaking ball swung through, strike 3. Gonzalez applies the tag for out number 3. We were told there was no BP or infield this afternoon, but the game going on, and very fortunately, all seems to be well in Wareham, Massachusetts this evening. We're through 6.5 now from Lowell Park. Time for the 7th inning stretch, a 7-7 tie between Cotuit and Hyannis on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network. Bottom of the 7th, upcoming from Lowell Park, Cotuit, Massachusetts. I was about to say Cotuit Park. 7-7 tie between Cotuit and Hyannis in game number 24 of the summer. And a second New Mexico Lobo is on for Chad Gassman. Christian Tripp, the new pitcher, and he'll hopefully, for Hyannis' sake, do better than the last Lobo to pitch. That was James Harrington back a few innings ago. Harrington, of course, did not record an out. And the 3 batters he faced is Trey McCall, first base coach, exchanging a hat for a helmet and now walking back down to first base. Tripp so far this summer, a very, very fine line. A 6'7" height for Christian Tripp, 220 pounds, and a 1.35 ERA in 10 appearances. He's been the main closer for Chad Gassman, 3 saves for Tripp, and he has 13 strikeouts in just over 13 innings out on the mound. He delivers a good first pitch fastball into Luke Alexander over at the knees for strike 1. 93 miles an hour on that one. We have seen Christian Tripp before. That came back on July 2nd as Alexander fooled. He swings through an 0-1 breaking ball for strike 2. Tripp went a clean inning in that appearance. An 11-8 loss for Hyannis. He had 2 strikeouts out of the 3 outs he recorded that night. 0-2, fastball misses just outside. The count 1-2. Luke 1 for 2 in this one. An RBI single way back in the first, as well as a walk in the 5th. The hitting streak now 10 games for Alexander. 1-2 from Tripp. Breaking ball misses just outside. Gets behind the catcher DiCaprio, who sprints back to get that baseball for no reason with nobody on base. It's a new catcher actually, man. It's Chris Proctor. I knew that didn't look like DiCaprio. So Chris Proctor, the Duke catcher.
Why not, huh?
Now behind the plate. It's been that kind of game, hasn't it? Proctor now due up to hit third in the next half inning for Chad Gassman in the 8th, with the bottom third of the lineup coming up. 2-2 inside out swing, foul down the first baseline. It drops. No Harbor Hawk with the chance to make that play, so the count's still 2-2. The second baseman Stovall and the first baseman Olenek are basked in sun with streaks of sunlight on the right side of the infield. Everybody else on the field, minus the right fielder Newstrom, now in the shade. The only sunlight on the right portion of the diamond right now at 7:18. 2-2, breaking ball, swung through, strike 3. Alexander didn't look all that comfortable in that at-bat, mostly because Christian Tripp with some really good stuff, and there's one gone here in the 7th for Chandler Avent. Again, Tripp has only allowed 2 earned runs in his prior 13 1/3 innings coming into this one. 6-7, really good stuff out of Spring, Texas. Avent swings at a first pitch curveball and fouls it out of play. Behind the Hyannis dugout for strike 1. Chandler just 1 for 1 in this one. He has a couple RBIs, had a double all the way back in the first. He's walked in his last 2 plate appearances, the last of which was an RBI walk because it came with the bases loaded. 0-1 fastball, 95 miles an hour, misses low. Looking across the diamond, Matt, to see if there are any new Harbor Hawks into the game that we might have missed, and I don't see any other new Harbor Hawks. It's the 3rd substitution combined in this ball game here in the 7th. 1-1 fastball outer black at 94 from Tripp. It's 1-2.
I think you're right, at least on the left side, which I can see a little bit better than the right side of the field.
7-7 tie, 1 out as the 1-2 swung through, strike 3. More good breaking stuff, and the righty Christian Tripp just puts his back to the plate, kind of takes his time to admire his fine work, and then walks around out there as the ball thrown around the infield. Tripp looks fairly impossible to hit right now, and there are 2 gone in the 7th for Terran Vavra. Vavra, of course, pinch hit for John Cresto in the bottom half of the 5th, and he flew out successfully to Reese Hampton in center, bringing home a run. First pitch from Tripp. Vavra swings, sprays to the left side. Mangum, the left fielder, ranges back, now sprints in, and with some fine speed, gloves around his knees for out number 3. A 1-2-3 inning for the New Mexico Lobo, Christian Tripp. And we'll head to the 8th now from Lowell Park. We're still tied at 7 on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network. Moving right along to the 8th on this Monday evening, a 7-7 tie, and Newstrom, Proctor, and Proctor due up here in the 8th, Matt.
That's right, Will. Looking at Proctor, a run for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, I suppose, are the latter two. It would be very prudent of Robert Newstrom to get on in the form of the leadoff batter should the Harbor Hawks really be looking to do that here in the top of the 8th. Neither team has scored a run over the course of the last 2 innings after there were quite a few fireworks through the first 5 innings. In fact, through the first 10 half innings of this game, there were runs in 6 of them. But now the last 4 have been scoreless. Robert Newstrom leads things off and calls time before the first pitch from Christian Demby. Meanwhile, for the second time in 2 nights, Mike Roberts has asked his infield to shift over to the right. Here's the first pitch to Newstrom. Flails and misses for strike 1 at an 81-mile-an-hour changeup from Christian Demby. That was on the outside corner, and with the infield shifted over to the right, you wonder if it would be in Christian Demby's best interest to keep the ball inside here to Newstrom, looking to get him to pull. The 0-1 pitch, Newstrom swings right into the shift, but it gets over Avant's head and dunks down into shallow right field. Newstrom going to take a wide turnaround first. He's going to try for a hustle double. The throw comes in, not in time, and Robert Newstrom, busting it out of the box, picks up a leadoff 2-bagger, representing the go-ahead run here in the top of the 8th.
2 components of that play, Matt. Number 1, Miles Lewis didn't exactly bust it to get to that line drive into shallow right center, but number 2, with Cotuit kind of being out of position, they haven't shifted too much this season. Luke Alexander needs to cover the second base bag, and Luke was a little late getting to second. A really heads-up play from Newstrom because there was no infielder at second base with both Avant and Vavre out in shallow right center field.
Mike Roberts comes out for a powwow on the mound with his entire infield. It's really a tough luck liner there for Mike Roberts and for the Kettleers because the shift was probably the right play. I don't have Newstrom's exact splits in front of me. I'll look them up during the break as we're going to get a pitching change here at Lowell Park. But the point is, Avant was in perfect position. The liner just had a little bit too much height, and it was too well placed off the bat of Newstrom. And then credit to Newstrom for thinking 2 out of the box and hustling his way into second base. Chase Sugar will be the new pitcher for the Kettleers. He comes on in relief of Christian Demby, and he'll come on looking to pitch out of a jam as he's been asked to do all year long up to this point. We'll step aside, come back with the rest of the top of the 8th on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network. Chase Sugar, the new pitcher for the Kettleers. He comes on in relief of Christian Demby as we are in a tie ball game in the top of the 8th from Lowell Park. 7-7 the score between the Kettleers and the Harbor Hawks, and Chase Sugar will be tasked with keeping it right where it is. The first batter that Sugar will face is Ford Proctor with Robert Newstrom at second. Proctor from the left side, Sugart from the stretch, checks on Newstrom. Now the kick in the first pitch. It's a fastball grounded right towards the second baseman, Vavra. He gloves and spins to Tolia, who had to turn around and cover the bag. Makes the catch and steps on that bag for out number one. It's a productive out for Ford Proctor as Newstrom moves up 90 feet to third. He's now just 90 feet away from scoring the go-ahead run. And there's one away for Chris Proctor. Chris Proctor came on as a defensive replacement for Dom DiCaprio behind the dish in the bottom of the seventh. DiCaprio started this game on the back end of the battery, and now Proctor will take his first at-bat. DiCaprio had reached base 3 times through his first 3 plate appearances, reached via an error in the second, then a pair of walks in the fourth and sixth respectively. Kettleer defense comes in looking to cut down the go-ahead run at the plate. Sugart would love a strikeout. Here's the kick in the first pitch to Proctor. Misses low for ball 1 at 81 miles an hour. Breaking ball there from Chase. After he threw a fastball to get Ford Proctor on one pitch. Chris Proctor so far this year, just 9 for his first 34. That's a .265 average, a triple, a homer, and 5 ribbies. Here's the 1-0. Proctor swings, lifts it into shallow right center. That gets down in front of Conine for an RBI base hit. And it's 8-7 Harbor Hawks as they push in front once again. Chris Proctor wastes no time. Gets a 1-0 fastball on the inner half and turns the barrel of the bat around on it. In his first at-bat of the night. And now Cotuit finds themselves in a hole once again by 1 run, 8-7. We get another pinch hitter now, I believe. Yes, we are indeed. As it will be Daniel Robinson coming off the bench for Chad Gassman. Robinson, a lefty, comes on to pinch hit for Reed Leonard, the righty in the designated hitting spot. Robinson out of Central Michigan, a .307 hitter on the season. He's been one of the best Harbor Hawks at the plate. Just getting a scheduled night off, but a potent bat off the bench in a high leverage situation here. Sugart comes set from the stretch. The kick in the 0-1, or the first pitch rather, misses low to Robinson. No, that caught the zone before it popped out of Ivan Gonzalez's mitt. And it's 0-1. Robinson with 5 doubles, 1 home run, 10 driven in. And he's 6 for 7 stealing bags. Sugart wheels and throws over to first, but Chris Proctor's back in safely. We last saw Chase Sugart a couple nights ago in Bourne. He picked up the final 6 outs of that 7-4 victory for the Kettleers. Gave up just 1 run. It was earned. 3 hits, 2 strikeouts, no walks. Here's the kick in the 0-1. It misses downstairs and away to Robinson, and the count draws even at 1 ball and 1 strike. Sugart overall this season, this is his 8th appearance. In his previous 7, no wins and losses, a 3.46 ERA, 3 saves. That's tied with Clark Cota for the team lead in 13 innings. Here's the kick in the 1-1. Robinson swings and lifts it foul out of play towards the left side as the count goes to 1-2. 94 on that up and away heater from Sugart. And he jumps ahead of Robinson. So the Kettleers will be looking to tie or push in front yet again when they come to the plate in the bottom of the 8th. It's been a seesaw affair all night long so far. Another throw over, and again Proctor dives back in. Cotuit pushed in front first as they delivered the keynote with 3 in the bottom of the first tonight. Hyannis, however, responded immediately with 3 in the top of the second. Harbor Hawks then got 3 more in the top of the 4th. Sugart again throws over, and again Proctor's back. A little bit closer this time than on the last one. Cotuit got 2 of their own in the bottom of the 4th to make it 6-5. Then Hyannis made it 7-5 in the top of the 5th. Kettleers tied it with 2 more in the bottom half. Another 1-2 pitch coming, and Robinson watches it miss a bit upstairs for ball 2. There are now just 2 players left on Chad Gassman's bench. A pair of lefties remaining for Gassman. Brendan Donovan and Cole Murphy. Sugart again set at the letters. Couple nods. Now the kick in the 2-2. Robinson chops it right back through the box. Avant picks it out of the air to second for one. Vavra with the turn. Not in time as it pulls Tolia off the bag at first. Robinson, the speedy runner, busting it down the line, beats out the wrap. And now there are 2 away as Robinson reaches via the 4-6 fielder's choice. 6-4 fielder's choice for 2 outs. So Jake Mangum the batter now. Mangum so far tonight 2 for 4. He swung at the first pitch in 3 of his 4 at-bats. First pitch to Mangum. He's swinging again, lifts it into shallow right center. Moving over Lewis. He won't get it, and it splits Lewis going all the way to the warning track. Lewis gloves it. Robinson being waved by Chad Gaspin. The relay throw to the plate. Up the line. Robinson slides in safely, and it's 9-7 Hyannis on an RBI double from Jake Mangum.
Ball just kept carrying off of Mangum's bat, and Lewis got to it quickly, threw into Vavra quickly, but Taryn was so far out into the shallow right center field that he really couldn't get enough juice on the throw into the plate. It was up line, but even if it had been to Ivan Gonzalez at home plate, I think the speedy Robinson would have scored anyway.
Jake Mangum picks up RBI number 7 on the year. He's got 2 of those 7 tonight. It's his second double of the night. And now here's Reese Hampton. Hampton swings at the first pitch and nubs it foul behind the plate and to the left for strike 1. So Sugart comes on after Robert Newstrom leads off the inning with a double. Jace has now faced 4 batters, and he's given up RBI base hits to 2 of the 4. Second run will be charged to Sugart. First one charged to Demby. Here's the 0-1. Hampton nubs it towards the third base side, fading fast, and that'll dunk down in just foul territory for a dangerous strike number 2. Hampton got jammed there and looped a liner over the third baseman Alexander. There's nothing Alexander was going to be able to do except watch where it landed, and thankfully for Luke, thankfully for Chase Sugart as well, it landed foul. Meanwhile, the bat broke for Reese Hampton, so he goes to the dugout and gets a new one before digging in advance of this 0-2. Mangum has good speed at second should a ball reach the outfield and should there be another play at the plate. Another run in this top half of the 8th would make the task rather tall for Cotuit with just 6 outs left to play with tonight. Sugart staring in. Long set here. Now gets the sign from Gonzalez. From the stretch. The kick in the 0-2. Hampton watches it miss outside at 94 for ball 1. Reese Hampton so far tonight 0 for 4. He entered tonight a .340 hitter, but has seen that average dip a little bit tonight. Pair of ground outs, a line out, and a fly out. Put the ball in play a lot. The kick in the 1-2. Hampton checks his swing. Didn't go around, and the pitch missed upstairs for ball 2. No action in the Hyannis bullpen, so you'd have to figure the bottom of the 8th belongs to Christian Tripp, and he looked really good in the bottom of the 7th, getting the Kettleers in order with a pair of strikeouts swinging. Sugart comes set again. Now the kick in the 2-2 to Hampton. Breaking ball swung on and missed for strike 3. Side retired. Hyannis does add a pair, though, to push back in front. They do so on the strength of 3 hits. There were no errors, and there was 1 runner left. We move to the home half of inning number 8. Now 9-7 Harbor Hawks on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network. Christian Tripp back onto the mound for Hyannis for his second inning of work. He kept the game tied when he worked the bottom of the 7th in 1-2-3 fashion, and now he's got a lead to work with and a lead to preserve as it's 9-7 Harbor Hawks thanks to 2 for Hyannis in this top of the 8th. Bottom of the 8th we go. Ivan Gonzalez the first batter, and the first pitch is a breaking ball from Tripp that catches the outside corner for strike 1. 82 miles an hour on that slider from Mr. Tripp. And now working quickly, comes set at the belt. The kick in the 0-1 to Gonzalez. Grounded towards third, but it squirts foul, and it's 0-2. Gonzalez so far tonight 0 for 2, struck out swinging to end the first. That first inning might prove to come back and haunt the Kettleers. It was the biggest threat, really, that Cotuit had all night. They did score 3 times, but they got 5 hits in the inning. They probably could have come up with a bit more. Here's the 0-2 to Gonzalez. Misses low and outside for ball 1. Ivan also laid down a successful sacrifice in the 4th and lined out sharply in the 5th on the best ball he put into play all night. Here's the kick in the 1-2. Gonzalez watches another breaking ball miss downstairs and outside. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Miles Lewis is in the on-deck circle. He came on as a defensive replacement after Thomas Dillard batted in the 9-hole in the bottom of the 5th. When Lewis comes to the plate after Gonzalez's turn, it will be Miles' first at-bat of the game. And then Griffin Conine, the big bat looming should someone reach. Here's the kick in the 2-2 to Gonzalez. He swings and lifts it out of play foul back behind the home plate screen. As the count remains the same, 94 on that fastball from Christian Tripp as he continues to pump him in. Sunlight dwindling here at Lowell Park, but we should still have enough to get one more inning in. 2-2 coming to Gonzalez. He swings and again beats it into the ground foul. Third baseline once more, as he'll see another. Next pitch will be the 7th of the at-bat to Ivan. After Christian Tripp needed just 11 pitches to retire the side in the bottom of the 7th. Kicking the 2-2, Gonzalez swung on and missed for strike 3. Ivan Gonzalez fooled by a breaking ball there from Christian Tripp after he threw the kitchen sink at Ivan. It's the 3rd strikeout through the first 4 batters that Tripp has faced, and it'll bring up the aforementioned Miles Lewis.
Sure, scouts are quickly writing some positive notes on Christian Tripp because he has that mid-90s fastball and a pretty filthy breaking ball as well that we just saw to finally retire Ivan.
Lewis, the switch hitter, batting from the left side. Swings at the first pitch and knocks it over the second baseman Stovall's head and into shallow right field. Miles Lewis with a first pitch swinging single off the bench. And just like that, the Kettleers will bring the tying run to the plate in the form of guess who? Griffin Conine. Miles Lewis now has hits in 6 of his last 7 as he stays hot. And in a marquee battle now, it'll be Tripp v. Conine. Griffin so far tonight 1 for 4, a single and a pair of strikeouts. Swings at the first pitch breaking ball and pulls the hand off the bat as he comes up empty for strike 1. Tripp working quickly, comes set, the kick and the pitch misses downstairs for 1 ball and 1 strike. When Griffin struck out swinging in the 6th, Will mentioned it at the time, he sprinted back towards the dugout as he took an ugly 3rd strike swing, as if to immediately erase that strikeout from his mind. He already has an ugly swing in this at-bat so far, too. The kick in the 1-1, swings and sprays it foul towards the left side. Might have broke his bat. Yes, he did, as he'll go get a new piece of lumber. And he's now in a 1-2 hole. Miles Lewis does have some speed, Will. Lewis so far this year 3 for 3 stealing bags. And although it's Mike Roberts' MO to play for 1 when he's down by 2, with Griffin Conine at the plate, I'm sure Lewis will be staying put. Conine now has a new piece of lumber. Christian Tripp just twirling the baseball in his right hand, staring down at the rubber as he's set to go, as he's jumped ahead of Conine here, 1-2.
Seeing some Noah Syndergaard in Christian Tripp. He has more height, but he has the long hair and the intensity as well. Long blonde hair, I might add.
Who? The kick in the 1-2 to Conine. Swings and knocks it right back through the box. Over to his left, the shortstop Proctor to the bag for one. The relay throw in time at first base. Double play. Christian Tripp coaxes a ground ball from Griffin Conine, and his defense behind him does the rest to keep the score at 9-7. Cotuit with a mini threat. They do not score. They get a hit, no errors, and nobody left in the bottom of the 8th. To the 9th we go, 9-7 Hyannis on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network. Matt Rigby and Will Greer back with you on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network from Lowell Park in Cotuit, Massachusetts. We move to inning number 9 in what has already been almost a 3-hour game on this Monday evening from Cotuit. 9-7 the score. Hyannis leads the Kettleers. And Kyle Kemp onto the mound for Cotuit, the 5th pitcher of the night for the Kettleers and the 10th pitcher used overall in this game. We last saw Kyle in mop-up duty on June the 30th, an 11-0 loss to the Wareham Gatemen. And in that game, Kemp only made the mess worse. He went 2 innings, gave up 5 hits, 4 runs. They were all earned, 3 walks, and 3 strikeouts. He'll be asked to keep the score right where it is and give the Kettleers a fighter's chance when they come to bat in the 9th. And in order to do so, he'll have to retire the heart of the Hyannis order, 3, 4, and 5 due up. The first pitch to Hunter Stovall, the 3-batter. Breaking ball that misses upstairs and outside for ball 1. Stovall, Coffey, and Olenek, righty, lefty, and righty. Stovall so far tonight 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Hunter without the batting gloves from the right side. Swings and misses at the 1-0. 89 on that fastball from Kemp upstairs. And it's 1-1. 9 runs, 12 hits, no errors for Hyannis. 7-9-2 for the Kettleers. 1-1 pitch. Olenek spoils it foul. Stovall spoils it foul towards the right side, and it's 1-2. Somewhat surprisingly, at least to me, Will, given how many base runners we've seen in this game, there haven't been a lot of men left on base. Hyannis has left only 5 by my count, and the Kettleers have left only 6. Kemp comes set, the kick in the 1-2. Stovall waves at it and comes up empty for strike 3. Good breaking ball down and away there from Kyle Kemp as he gets Stovall fishing. There's one away here in the top of the 9th.
Yeah, to your point, Matt, the run total up on the scoreboard approaching the hit total. 16 runs, 21 combined hits. These teams doing a good job of getting guys in from scoring position. And that certainly reflected in the 9-7 score.
Micah Coffey, the batter now. Coffey 2 for 4 so far tonight. Watches a first pitch breaking ball clip the outside door for strike one. A double, a single, and a pair of runs scored for Coffey. He continues to see the ball well and hit the ball well so far this summer. He's got a bug in his eye here, speaking of seeing things well. Asks for time and now steps back in. Kemp from the belt, the 0-1. Another good slider, catches the outside corner, and it's 0-2. Still a pretty healthy crowd here at Lowell Park. Kemp with a high leg kick, the 0-2. Coffey watches it miss down and in. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Both sides, the third base side bleachers for the Kettleers and the first base side bleachers for the Harbor Hawks, have thinned out a bit. It's been a pretty competitive and close game throughout, and it's a rivalry game, right?
Absolutely. Stay till the very last out is recorded.
Kicking the 1-2, and it's just off the outside corner. Boy, delayed call there from Troy Lair. I thought he was going to ring up Micah Coffey, but he doesn't give Kyle Kemp the black. And now the count is square. Kemp stares in, comes to an agreement with his catcher Gonzalez. Now the kick in the 2-2 on the outside corner. This one he gets the call. Ring him up, says Troy Lair. Micah Coffey's down on strike number 3, and there's 2 strikeouts to begin the top of the 9th for Kyle Kemp. A good rebound outing so far for Kemp, albeit a full week and a half later. He looks much better than he did the last time we saw him, and now the batter's Ryan Olenek. Olenek 1 for 3 tonight, singled and scored in the second. Fly out, a strikeout, and a successful sacrifice bunt. Kicking the pitch to Olenek. Fastball on the outside corner for strike 1. There is a reliever warming in the Hyannis bullpen. The 0-1, Olenek lays off, 1 ball and 1 strike. Try and see who that is before the end of this top of the 9th. When the bottom of the 9th comes, Cotuit will have 2, 3, and 4 due up. Genista, Kinnaman, and Tolia as they look to tie or win it in walk-off fashion. 1-1 pitch, misses low and outside. Olenek lays off again, and it's 2-1.
Just looking down the guys left for Chad Gassman, man, most of the guys who you'd think would come into a high leverage situation in the bottom half of the 9th have been used. Davis Vayner, a righty out of Alabama, really the only guy with a respectable ERA who comes out of the bullpen, left for Chad Gassman. If I were Chad, I would go with Tripp for the bottom half of the 9th if he's able to go out there for another inning.
You don't have a lot of cards to play. I'm with you. Christian Tripp's look really good tonight. The 2-1, Olenek, inside out swing and fouls it, over towards the right side, 2-2. I'm told that Ryan Weiss is the man warming in the pen for Hyannis. I think you might have overlooked him, Will, because Weiss has been a hybrid starter/reliever so far this summer for Hyannis. He started 3 games, but he's also appeared out of the bullpen 4 times, 17 innings logged, and a 1.59 ERA. The 9th could be his, I suppose. We might find out on this next pitch. The 2-2 with 2 down to Olenek. He swings and misses for strike 3. Kyle Kemp strikes out the side. Best inning on the mound of any of the 10 pitchers tonight. And he keeps the score at 9-7 as the Kettleers need 2 when we come back for the bottom of the 9th on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network. Looks like we could have Wright State bookends, Will, in this Monday evening game. Zane Collins was the first pitcher to come onto the mound for the Kettleers. He started the game for Cotuit, lasted only 3 innings, gave up 7 hits, 6 runs, 4 of which were earned before he was bounced out of this game by the Hyannis bats. And now Ryan Weiss comes on. He's also a Wright State righty. And he looks to be the last pitcher of the night as he represents pitcher number 11 combined between these two squads tonight. Weiss needs 3 outs. The Kettleers need 2 runs. It's 9-7. Hyannis leads Cotuit. Kettleers in jeopardy of seeing their 6-game winning streak come to an end if they can't mount a rally here in the bottom of the 9th. And they'll ask Grayson Genista to lead things off, with the Kettleers in need of a base runner. Kinnaman and Tolia will be behind Genista. 2 lefties, and then Tolia, a switch hitter against the righty Weiss. So that would mean that all 3 scheduled hitters will be righty-lefty matchups for Weiss. Weiss so far this summer, I mentioned it before the break, but he's been pretty good. A 1-0 record, a 1.59 ERA. 7 appearances, 3 starts, 17 innings, 14 hits allowed, 3 earned runs allowed, 17 strikeouts, and most importantly, given that he's protecting a slim 2-run lead with 3 outs to get, he's been a control artist this summer as well. Just 2 walks in those 17 innings logged. The first pitch to Grayson Genista, fastball on the outside corner for a strike at 95 miles an hour. It's 0-1. Genista's had a good night. He's 2 for 4. Now 4 for 12 since returning from his 4-game hiatus. The 0-1 misses low on the outside corner, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Again, the Kettleers need a base runner, and they've been good at getting leadoff base runners all year. They enter play tonight with a .370 leadoff on base percentage this season. The 1-1 looped into shallow center. Now it gets some depth to it. Hampton glides over and with 2 hands reaches up to make the catch for out number 1. A lazy fly ball out off the bat of Grayson Genista, and there's 1 away now for Brett Kinnaman. Kinnaman's also 2 for 4 tonight. He's got a single, a double, and 2 runs scored. Brett's now reached base in 10 out of his last 11 games, hitting in the 3-hole for the 2nd straight night. And the first pitch to Brett misses low for ball 1. Something's got to give here as well, you'd figure, Will. Weiss with just 2 walks in now 17 1/3 innings. Brett Kinnaman enters tonight with the 2nd most walks in the Cape League. The 1-0, and Kinnaman lifts it out of play foul towards the left side. It's 1-1. Cotuit would love a walk here to get to Michael Tolia to the plate representing the tying run. Tolia can keep the inning going past himself. Luke Alexander would be next. Kinnaman takes a big rip at the 1-1 and comes up empty at an 86-mile-an-hour changeup. Looked like Weiss pulled the string there. And now Kinnaman in a 1-2 hole. The bad news for Brett, he enters tonight with the most strikeouts as well with 30. He's already added to that tonight with 1 to give him 31 back in the 3rd. He's in a 1-2 hole here. Slightly open stance from the left side. Weiss with the sign from the windup, the kick, and the 1-2. Kinnaman sprays it towards the left side. That gets down for a 1-out single. And just like that, the Kettleers will indeed bring the tying run to the plate in the form of Michael Tolia. What a good piece of hitting there from Brett Kinnaman. He got an outside corner fastball, just stuck the bat out at it. Went the other way, and he's on for the 3rd time tonight.
Yeah, it's the 2nd time tonight Brett has gone the other way with an outside fastball. He had the RBI single through the hole on the left side all the way back in the 1st, and this time giving Cotuit a fighter's chance here in the 9th.
So now Michael Tolia, the batter. He has not hit a home run yet this summer, if that's what you're thinking. But he has been hot of late. He takes the first pitch change up on the outside corner for a strike, 0-1. Tolia has reached base 2 times again tonight. It's the 3rd time he's done that in a row. And he's reached in 7 of his last 14 trips to the plate. Pitch misses upstairs to Tolia, and it's 1-1. And now Weiss with the 1-1. Tolia watches a pitch clip the outside corner at 90 miles an hour for strike 2. Michael Tolia takes a grin. He didn't like that call from Troy Lair. It's been a wide strike zone all night, though. Kettleers have to adjust here if they want to keep this game alive. Kinnaman with a small lead at first. He's not going anywhere. The 1-2 misses down and outside for ball 2. Weiss working very quickly here in the bottom of the ninth. Looking to lock down this victory for the Harbor Hawks. He comes set at the belt. From the stretch, the 2-2. Tolia watches it miss up and away for ball 3. Good take there by Michael Tolia. That pitch almost came back in and caught the outside corner at 93 miles an hour, but Tolia lays off, and now he's got the count full. See if Kinnaman runs here to stay out of the double play. He does. The payoff pitch. Tolia rips it to straightaway right center, backing up the right fielder Newstrom. That's Michael to the bat on an inside corner fastball, and we are knotted up at 9 in the bottom of the ninth. Michael Tolia with his first home run of the summer, the biggest home run of the year by a Kettleer. Give him RBIs number 6 and 7, his biggest 2 in those department as well. And the Kettleers keep the magic alive here with 2 more in the bottom of the ninth.
A huge smile on Michael Tolia's face, as he should have. You figured this ball game, Matt. You figured something was going to happen in this bottom of the ninth. It's been so back and forth. It has certainly not been a good game if you like pitching. And Weiss, who did have a really good ERA coming in, gives up a center cut fastball on a 3-2 pitch, and Tolia absolutely crushed it.
First pitch to Luke Alexander, skips in and low for ball 1. I want to go back to the 2-2 pitch that Tolia laid off on. It was a 93 mile an hour fastball that missed just off the outside corner. The 1-0 to Alexander's a big swing and a miss, 1-1. Michael wanted to swing. He started the hands, but then held the bat up. Proved to be the biggest take of the season so far for Michael Tolia, because then, as you mentioned, Weiss had to groove a fastball 3-2, didn't want to walk him. As the 1-1 pitch misses low to Alexander. And Tolia knew what to do with that fastball. Comes up huge in a clutch spot to straightaway right, and we're all knotted up. The 2-1 to Alexander now. Alexander swings, pops a fly ball towards the left side. Pretty deep, but that'll get out of play foul, and it's 2-2. Now the concern becomes, Will, and that ball was caught, you told me. I didn't even bother to look.
Unbelievable
as the left
play
fielder
from
Mangum comes over. I can't even see down the left field line, so I didn't even bother to look. Well, you tell me Mangum make the catch, so it's now 2 outs.
He went into a foot-first dive right in the left field corner. There was essentially no room left. His cleat actually might have hit the left field fence down there. Really nice play from Mangum in left that time. And I don't blame you for giving up on that foul ball. It did not look like it was going to be caught.
Anyway, 2 away now for Chandler Avant, and the first pitch to Avant, breaking ball that catches the zone at the knees for strike 1. Anyway, to finish up that thought, the concern becomes now, if the Kettleers don't ultimately push in front here in the bottom of the ninth, we're running out of daylight. The 0-1 pitch to Avant, big swing and a miss, and it's no balls and 2 strikes. Obviously, if you're Cotuit, you're happy that you've tied this game up. And while we might have 1 more inning left in us, that would probably be all. The kick in the 0-2 to Avant. Pitch misses up and away for ball 1. Now the kick in the 1-2 to Avant. Swings and grounds it towards third. Charging his Coffee. Does not glove it. It skips underneath. And off the heel of his glove as Avant reaches. The Kettleers stay alive. They have the go-ahead run on base. And the batter now will be Taryn Vavra.
Really tough play for Coffee. A high chopper with a ton of topspin. And he was playing so far back that when he charged in, he kind of got an in-between hop. He had to flail the glove at it and could not come up with it cleanly that time. An E5 allowing Avant to reach.
Tough luck E5 charge to Micah Coffee. And now Taryn Vavra will stroll into the box for his 3rd plate appearance of the night. Chris Proctor comes out for a chat with Ryan Weiss. There's nobody in the dugout. This could be a bit of a stall tactic here from Hyannis.
Now Mike Roberts sprints into the Cotuit dugout. You're not sure what Coach Roberts is doing, but play, I guess, won't resume until he gets back in the third base coach's box.
Wonder if he's telling a guy to get his batting gloves on and start taking swings. Zach Cohn is available on the bench, as is Gian Martellini. And Ivan Gonzalez is in the on-deck circle.
Now Coach Roberts emerges from the other side of the dugout.
First pitch to Vavra misses up and away for ball 1. Ryan Weiss has to be shaken here, having already allowed a 2-run home run to tie it up in this bottom of the ninth. The 1-0, Vavra with a check swing, and the pitch caught the outside corner anyway, says Troy Lair. It's 1-1. You just got to wonder where Weiss is at mentally right now. If you're Taryn Vavra, you want to jump on a pitch. If you get one to hit, hopefully find a gap and win this thing. The 1-1, pitch misses upstairs for ball 2.
Because of the sunlight situation, man, I think to your point, if Vavra is able to find a gap, you probably send Avant from third and just play with house money. I mean, Troy Lair has already called 2 guys safe at the plate when they were probably out. There's a good chance he'll call a 3rd guy safe, right?
2-1 to Vavra. Breaking ball catches the zone for strike 2. Good pitch there from Ryan Weiss. Really gutsy pitch. Down in the count 2-1. He goes with a bender. And the get me over breaking ball does just that for him as the count's now 2-2. Avant with a small lead at first. The kick in the 2-2 misses outside for ball 3. Taryn Vavra yet to swing the bat in this plate appearance, but he's worked the count full. The last time a Kettleer had a full count against Ryan Weiss, Michael Tolia hit a 2-run home run 3 batters ago. Olenek playing behind Avant. The payoff pitch, Avant runs, and the pitch misses downstairs for ball 4. Appeal down to second base. Ed McAvin says Vavra didn't go. It didn't look particularly close to me. And now the Kettleers have the winning run in scoring position with Ivan Gonzalez coming to the plate. Again, Zach Cohn is on the bench. He's a little bit quicker than Chandler Avon if you'd want a pinch run representing the go-ahead run. And now Chad Gassman going to come out to the mound. And he chatted with home plate umpire Troy Lair. There's no one warming in the bullpen, so you wonder if he's going to bring someone from the field in to pitch here.
Also maybe wonder if Gassman wanted clarification on if this is it. I mean, certainly wants to know if he has to get somebody warm for the 10th and wants to know what he should tell his team right now. And Allen down the third base line in the bleachers, pumping up the crowd. They have been absolutely fabulous as this game has gone on. There's a drum beating down there, a lot of energy. Best home field advantage in the Cape League, Matt.
Gonzalez is 0 for 3 so far tonight, Will, with a pair of strikeouts and a lineout. He's now just 2 for his first 16 as a Kettleer. You do have a catcher available on the bench in the form of Gian Martellini, so while I speculated about Cohn running for Avan at second, you could also pinch hit Martellini for Gonzalez if you wanted, especially since this game's probably not going to go into the 10th. Nonetheless, Mike Roberts looks like he's content to go with Gonzalez here. And if Gonzalez could come through, how big would that be for his first RBI as a Kettleer? Everybody's ready now. The mound visit over. Weiss is staying on the mound. There was no change from Gassman. The first pitch to Gonzalez. He swings and comes up empty at a high heater. It's 0-1. Gonzalez looked like he was thinking home run there. All he has to do is put a ball into the outfield for a base hit, and this game will probably be over. Don't try to do too much, Ivan. And he's now in a 0-1 hole. Weiss set at the belt, the kick in the 0-1. Breaking ball bends over for a strike at 76 miles an hour, and it's 0-2. Ryan Weiss has snapped off 2 good breaking balls over the course of the last 2 plate appearances. Then he's gone back to his fastball and he's missed. We'll see if he goes back to the breaking ball here with a pitch to play with, 0-2. Small leads at second and first for Avant and Vavra. The 0-2 pitch to Gonzalez. Breaking ball just off the outside corner and low for ball 1. Hampton playing very shallow in center. Mangum shallow in left. Newstrom pretty average in right. The 1-2 to Gonzalez. He swings, loops one along the infield. Right under it is the second baseman Stovall, and he gloves it to retire the side. The Kettleers tie it up, though, on the strength of a 2-run home run from Michael Tolia. The umpires are going to conference now, so we'll stay right here and see if this game will indeed go to the 10th. There were 2 hits, an error, and a walk in the inning for the Kettleers. And Mike Roberts and Chad Gassman are coming out of their respective dugouts now as well to get the final verdict from the umpiring crew. If you start the top of the 10th, you have to finish the bottom of the 10th, and that's why I'd be surprised if this game goes an extra inning. Managers are shaking hands. It will not go an extra inning, and for the first time all year, a Kettleer game ends in a tie. Sometimes when you tie, Will, both teams can feel about the same. I'd have to figure this one feels like more of a win for the Kettleers and more of a loss for the Harbor Hawks, because Hyannis had this one in the bag were it not for a 2-run home run by Michael Tolia in the bottom of the ninth to tie it up and keep the Kettleers' lossless streak, I guess, alive.
I don't know what we call it now.
At 7 games here tonight from Lowell Park. We'll step aside and come back with the postgame show. 9-9 the final. Kettleers tied for the first time this year on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network. Well, they say a tie is kind of like kissing your sister. And I guess each team did it 9 times tonight as we finish with a final score of 9-9 in round number 3 of the 2017 Barnstable Patriot Cup. I mentioned it before we stepped away for our first break before this Cotuit Kettleers postgame show. But I got to figure that each team feels a little bit differently after the 9 innings of play tonight and after this tie game. If you're Hyannis, you feel like you let a win get away, and if you're Cotuit, you feel like you pulled a tie from the skin of your teeth as they came back 3 different times tonight, did the Kettleers, the biggest comeback of them all in the bottom of the 9th, thanks to a Michael Tolia 2-run home run with the Kettleers down to their final 2 outs. Matt Rigby with you alongside my broadcast partner Will Greer on the Cotuit Kettleers postgame show on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network. 9 runs, 12 hits, 1 error, 5 left tonight for Hyannis. 9 runs, 11 hits, 2 errors, and 6 left tonight for Cotuit. I'd love to give you a winning and losing pitcher, but because the game ended in a tie in the rarest of baseball occurrences, there isn't a decision awarded to either side tonight, so we'll leave that column alone. Time of the game, 3 hours and 8 minutes, longest game of the season from Lowell Park. We barely had enough sunlight to get all 9 innings in, and then after the Kettleers tied it up in the bottom of the 9th, the umpiring crew of Troy Lair, Steve Williams, and Ed McAvin combined decided that that would be enough. Both managers shook hands, and they decided to play tonight to a draw. Hyannis becomes the first team in the league to pick up 2 ties on the season. They're now 9-13-2. Cotuit, on the other hand, becomes the, I guess, 4th to last team. That doesn't come out of the mouth too well, but the 4th to last team to pick up their first tie, as the Kettleers are now 14-9-1. It'll give us a chance to run you through exactly how ties factor into the final standings in the Cape League when the season comes to an end. Each team in the Cape League gets 2 points for a win, no points for a loss, and 1 point for a tie. So the Kettleers, with their 14-9 record, entered tonight with 28 points, perched atop the Cape League's Western Division. They'll now move to 29. Hyannis, on the other hand, moves to 20 points overall, as they entered tonight 9-13-1 and with 19 points on their ledger. You had to figure that Cotuit was going to tie at some point this summer, given that we don't have lights at Lowell Park and given that a game can end at the end of any particular inning. Tonight it comes after the 9th. The Cape League ends games after the 12th anyway, so if this game had still been tied three innings later, it would have ended in a draw as well. Some totals tonight. Lots of hitters showed up in big ways for both teams. We'll start with your Cotuit Kettleers. Michael Tolia has perhaps the best night of all the Kettleers' 9 starters tonight. He reaches base 3 times and picks up his first home run of the season. That 2-run shot that I just mentioned a minute ago over the right field wall on a 3-2 pitch against the Hyannis closer Ryan Weiss, who had been almost flawless so far this season. Tolia also gets a single and a walk. He scores 2 runs tonight in the 9-9 tie. Brett Kinnaman gets 3 base hits and scores 3 runs, 3 of the 9 that the Kettleers scored tonight. A double and 2 singles for Brett, and he singled in front of Michael Tolia in order to score the first of those 2 runs that tied things up in the bottom of the 9th. It was a great piece of hitting by Brett Kinnaman as he was in a 1-2 count. Got an outside corner fastball from Ryan Weiss at 94 miles an hour. Kinnaman just went the other way with it, though. Got on base, and then Michael Tolia did the rest. Chandler Avant reaches 3 times tonight, reaches 4 times actually, one of which was an error. The other 3 earned. 2 walks, a run scored, and an RBI double back in the first. Luke Alexander extends his hit streak to 10 games with an RBI single in the first and a walk in the 5th. Miles Lewis gets a single as he's now hitting 6 out of 7. He had just 1 at-bat tonight. Impressive job by Miles for sure. John Cresto gets a walk, and then Terran Vavra drives in a run with a sac fly and also draws a walk in tonight's game. Kyle Kemp is an unsung hero tonight, Will, because with the game 9-7 and Kyle Kemp having not pitched in a week and a half, Kemp came on in the top of the 9th and struck out the Hyannis side. 2 of which were swinging, 1 of which was looking. He did so in the form of the heart of the Hyannis order as well. Hunter Stovall, Micah Coffey, and Ryan Olenek, 3, 4, and 5. At the time, it seemed like nothing big, but then when Michael Tolia tied it up with 1 swing of the bat, Kyle Kemp proved to be quite the added gem for the Kettleers out of the bullpen tonight, and for Mike Roberts as well. Connor Green, the starter tonight for Hyannis, was not very good. 3 innings, 6 hits, 5 runs. They were all earned. Zane Collins struggled a bit tonight as well. He went just 3 innings. Also 7 hits, 6 runs, 4 of which were earned. Christian Demby gets charged with 1 run. Micah Stallings with 1. Chase Sugart with 1 for Cotuit. James Harrington gets charged with 2 for Hyannis. Nick Sandlin, Ethan Larison, and Christian Tripp were all spotless on their lines, but Ryan Weiss, the final pitcher of the night for Hyannis and the 11th pitcher in tonight's game, gives up those 2 runs and ultimately allows the game to be tied. Cotuit keeps their 4.5 game lead over Hyannis. We'll have to check and see what the rest of the Cape League's division, Western Division, did in tonight's game in order to know just how far Cotuit will stay in front in first place tonight atop the Western Division. All we do know is that they will stay in front as they entered tonight with a 2-game lead, and given that they tied, that lead is not going anywhere. We'll step aside, and then Will Greer will come back with what we learned tonight on the other side of this break on the Cotuit Kettleers postgame show on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network.
Back at beautiful Lowell Park on this Monday evening. Will Greer, Matt Rigby alongside you. The final score again, Hyannis 9, Cotuit 9. Our first tie of the summer here at Lowell Park. Cotuit's first tie as well. It's tie number 2 for Hyannis. The Kettleers now 14-9-1. Hyannis 9-13-2. The Harbor Hawks, the first team to 2 ties this summer. Hooray for them. Now it's time for What We Learned Tonight, presented as always by our friends at Curry College. We learned number 1 all the way back in the 4th inning of this one that it takes a lot to get ejected in the Cape League. It, in fact, might be impossible because Chad Gassman stormed out of the dugout after the runner at third, John Cresto at the time, was called safe. It was a ground ball off the bat of Blake Reese. The first baseman, Olenek, scooped up the ground ball, threw to the plate. The tag appeared to have been applied in time, and the call came from home plate umpire Troy Lair that the runner at third coming toward home, Cresto, was safe. That scored a very important run for Cotuit. Gassman was not happy. He got straight in the face of Troy Lair, but he was not ejected. So we'll wait to see our first ejection in 2 seasons broadcasting games up in the Cape League. We learned number 2 that Cotuit certainly had something brewing in their half of the 9th, and Michael Tolia made that rally really count. It was Brett Kinnaman who singled the other way with 1 out in the 9th inning, and then Tolia, the UCLA Bruin, delivering his first home run of the summer, a 2-run shot over the straightaway right field wall. You wonder where that ranks in Michael's all-time baseball memories. A really good night for Tolia, a really good night for Cotuit coming back to tie this ball game. And we learned number 3 that this might in fact be the highest scoring Barnstable Patriot Cup series in the history of the series. The first 2 scores, if you weren't with us then and you don't know, it was 11-8 Cotuit in game number 2, 12-6 Cotuit in game number 1, and this one, of course, 9-9. There have now been 55 runs scored combined between these 2 teams in just 3 games, and that's an average, if you'll believe it, of 9 runs per team per game. Our exact final score tonight, the 9-9 final. That was What We Learned Tonight, presented by Curry College. I want to remind you quickly that Curry College offers 14 NCAA D3 athletic teams in sports such as football, baseball, softball, basketball, hockey, soccer, lacrosse, tennis, cross country, and volleyball. Read about the success of the Curry Colonels and their championship teams. It's all online at curry.edu. We'll step aside one more time here on the post-game show. On the other side, Matt Rigby will take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard. We'll preview tomorrow's probables with Chatham coming to Lowell Park, and we'll wrap things up from Lowell Park. Again, the final score, 9-9, Hyannis and Cotuit, ending in a tie tonight, as we'll be right back on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network.
Matt Rigby and Will Greer back on the Cotuit Kettleers Video Network for the 3rd and final segment of tonight's Cotuit Kettleers post-game show. Final score tonight, the first tie of the season for the Kettleers as they play to a deadlock with the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. Final score 9-9. Let's take a quick trip around the Cape League for some other scores on the out-of-town scoreboard. YD defeats Brewster in a matchup of 2 12-10-1 teams at Red Wilson Field. Both those teams entered tonight tied for 2nd in the Cape League's Eastern Division. YD breaks that tie with a 4-0 victory. It was a good outing for Kyle Bubick, who went 6 innings, gave up just 3 hits, no runs, 5 strikeouts, and no walks. Overall, YD 4 hits the Whitecaps as they move to 13-10 and 1. The other game in the Eastern Division tonight, Orleans and Harwich locked in a pitcher's duel. 2-1, Firebirds lead the Mariners top 7. Daniel Lynch, who entered tonight with a 3-0 record, tied for the Cape League's lead in wins for the Firebirds, went 5 innings, gave up 3 hits, 1 run. It was earned, 6 strikeouts, 1 walk. Jake Agnos made the start for Harwich. He went 5 strong, gave up just 2 runs, 2 strikeouts, and 2 walks. It's a battle of the bullpens now at White House Field as the M's look to break a 4-game losing streak. Western Eastern Division, cross-division game, I guess would be a better way to put it, at Spillane Field. Bottom 7, another pitcher's duel between the Gatemen and the Anglers. Chatham and Wareham tied at 2. Stay tuned for that. Keep updating your Point Streak scoreboard tab, or your Cape League homepage tab, I suppose, if you cannot wait to see the final of that one tonight. If you can wait, then we'll tell you about it tomorrow when we update the out-of-town scoreboard and the standings in advance of the Kettleers matchup between those Anglers here at Lowell Park. The only other game, an all-Western Division matchup in Falmouth, as the Bourne Braves and Falmouth Commodores, who come into tonight, 2nd and 3rd respectively in the Cape League's Western Division, are 6-4 in favor of the Braves. Bottom 7 at Arnie Allen Diamond. Bourne still needs 6 outs to further their pad over Falmouth in 2nd place and to continue to cut into Cotuit's lead in 1st place in the Western Division.
All right, Matt, start pitching probables for tomorrow night's game. It is the made-up game. We were rained out last Friday night, so Chatham coming to Lowell Park for the first time all summer, and the starting pitching probables look like this. First for Cotuit, Seth Schumann will make his 4th start of the summer. Last time out for Seth, probably his best start thus far. He went 5 innings on the 4th of July, gave up 1 run. It was unearned, 4 strikeouts and 4 hits. Coming in, the Georgia Southern righty, a 3.64 ERA, 11 strikeouts in 12 1/3 innings, and 15 hits allowed by Seth Schumann. For Chatham, Jacob Stevens, the 6'3", 222-pound righty out of New York, and Boston College, will be making his 4th start of the summer. So far for Stevens, 3.85 ERA, 16 hits allowed in just 11 2/3 innings, 7 strikeouts and 7 walks. His ERA not that bad at 3.85, but last time out on July 2nd at Harwich, he gave up 7 runs against a not-so-formidable Harwich starting 9. Just 2 of those 7 were earned runs. So Stevens, perhaps not as good as his ERA shows, but I guess we'll have to wait and find out. Stevens versus Schumann tomorrow night at Lowell Park.
All right, Will, one final time tonight from Lowell Park in game number 2 of what was a mini and unplanned 3-game homestand. The Kettleers and Harbor Hawks tie 9-9, first tie of the year for Cotuit, as I mentioned in segment number 1 of the pregame or of the postgame show. No winning pitcher, no losing pitcher tonight. Time of the game, 3 hours and 8 minutes. Be sure to tune in as we wrap up the homestand tomorrow night, as we make up the rainout from last week against the Anglers. Chatham comes to town for the 2nd time this summer. 2nd time, right, Will, or is it the 1st time? 1st time the Anglers are coming to town. Memory did not serve there. And first pitch tomorrow night between the Anglers and the Kettleers will be scheduled for 5 p.m. with the pregame show set to begin around 4:40 or so. Have a good Monday night, everyone, and have a good Tuesday before first pitch tomorrow night.